Make some noise if you're still with us. It's the last session, last segment of day 3 of the People's Reset UK. Everybody at home, we hope you're enjoying yourselves from the comfort of your home. We just want to show you one more of the things you're missing. This is, make some noise for the lovely Myra Gomez here. For those who are at home, you can't see, but off here in the corner, Myra's been doing some live painting the last day and a half here during our sessions. You want to tell us about this, Myra?
So I originally started this design for Derek and Presence's singles that came out yesterday, and I just loved it so much, and I just had to paint it for you guys. And I think if you all stick around, you're going to absolutely love what the end result will be. And I know everyone's been loving it so far. Just wait. I haven't even gotten to the point of the painting. So I'm really excited, and thank you all so much. Thank you for being here, and thank you for enjoying the art and everything that everyone has to offer.
And we are discussing the idea of a live auction. Does anybody think that they might want to take this home with them? Whether you're here and if you're at home, you can bid on this as well. We're going to be bidding throughout the afternoon. And like she said, it's just beginning. You can also, this is for Instagram, right? Yeah. Follow her at _Myra Art. And I'll put that in the chat. For those at home, I encourage you to check out her beautiful art. And for those in person, you get to enjoy the transformation and watch it all come together. So let's give Myra another big round of applause, everybody. All right. So I do want to mention one other thing. Thank you, Myra. As before we get to our first speakers of this afternoon session, final 4 speakers of the day. Can you believe it? We've got Dan Astin-Gregory coming up. We've got John Bush. We're about to hear from some amazing ladies. We've also got Yoshi, who came from Ecuador. Unfortunately, his partner Pola was not able to make it. They had some challenges traveling as well, but he came all the way from Ecuador to come share some ancestral knowledge with you guys. We're going to hear that as well. Now, I mentioned earlier, the next event in our sort of People's Reset movement is happening in Morelia, Mexico, Central Mexico, January 29th to February 2nd. We actually do it for 5 days. Can you imagine doing this for 5 days? You have to conserve your energy a little bit, right? And even then, it goes by so quick by the end. You're like, I can't believe we're all about to go our own ways. We would love to have everybody in this room join us in Mexico, if at all possible. Everybody at home, wherever you're listening from, you can come as well. And I want to announce this very specifically. Right now, the tickets for the People's Reset Mexico are $144 US. But for everybody here and everybody here at home, if you go to the website, you can purchase the tickets. You can use the coupon code VIVA Mexico, VIVA Mexico, and the tickets will be only $100 US. That's the cheapest we can offer it. And then, of course, we know you got travel costs and other things, but we want to make the tickets as easy and accessible for those who are interested in making that journey. Somebody said it yesterday. Bath is kind of like Morelia, the city we're in. It's got 15th century buildings, very walkable, beautiful city, just different culture, different language. I promise you guys would love it, and we would love to welcome you. The weather is also a bit warmer for those who are looking for that, and especially in January. I can only imagine how cold it might be out here in January, but you can come down and hang out with us. So one more time for everybody at home and those here in person, Viva Mexico, go to thepeoplesreset.org, thegreaterreset.org, go to tickets page, and you can get those tickets for only $100 US right now. So thank you guys for that. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you to everybody at home who's been donating. We make the stream free for you on purpose because we want as many people in the world as possible to get these solutions. And I'll also mention one other thing. All of the talks from yesterday, both sessions and the second session of day 1 are already available on our Odyssey channel. We've been putting them up as soon as we're done. The full segments, we'll work on the individual talks very soon. But if you missed anything, you can already go to our website, go to thegreaterreset.org, scroll to the bottom, click on our Odyssey channel, and you'll see the talks from the last 2 days already available for you guys. So thank you so much for supporting. Let's bring Dan on stage.
Thank you, Derek. All right, so who enjoyed this session on education before the break? Wow, hey. So should we continue in that vein? It's my pleasure to introduce 2 pioneers who have been really a staple part of the freedom community over the last 3 to 4 years. Hands up who's been to the Hope Sussex community, who's heard of Hope Sussex. Wow, so we're going to hear all about the origin story about Hope Sussex came into reality, creating our own beautiful reality through community, through like-minded, free-loving souls. They have a passion for education and helping people to find a sense of curiosity and exploration so that we can enhance ourselves, how we can impact the next generation. So please give a warm welcome to Sadie Single and Katy-Jo Murphin.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan. Thank you. Oh, hello. Hello, everybody. This is Sadie.
Hello.
And I am Katy-Jo, and we are the founders and directors of Hope Sussex Community, CIC. We normally speak from the heart and don't use any notes or anything, but because we are restricted with time, we have written down what we're going to speak to you today, so we don't miss anything, we don't and ah, and don't go off on tangents, which is what we normally do.
Yeah.
Before we start, though, I would like to say that Hope, as it is today, was something we never envisaged. We never saw exactly what Hope was going to be. We just knew that we needed to make something happen. I was compelled to build community in 2019. And I met this amazing lady, and this is why we are here now. Along with all the other incredible volunteers and community members, Hope has grown organically into what it is today. And yeah, really excited to share our story with you. So I'll hand you over to Sadie.
Thank you. Are we able to put on the PowerPoint at all? Thank you. So Dan asked, who here has been to Hope? I didn't really quite catch it. So put your hands up if you actually have been to Hope. Okay. That is not good enough. Put your hands up if you've not been to Hope. Oh my gosh. We've had it all going on. Right, you've got to change that. Okay? At some point before the year's out, or at some point next year, you've got to come to Hope. You have to. We are an autonomous community. We have been born out of the chaos of this great reset agenda. Our wider community sits at around 1,700 people, but we have a very core community who regularly come to Hope, around 150 people. We were born from a dream to create a space for like-minded adults and children to come together, to educate, to socialise, to grow food and empower themselves. We have done this, and we are one of the greatest success stories to have grown from this fantastic movement that we are all part of towards a better world. So Hope is near Battle, East Sussex. We have a beautiful site that houses around 6 buildings that range from our treehouse, which is a large drama dance studio, a large barn that is used as a workshop space for practical skills and other teaching classes. Our living classroom building, which has a grass roof and holds 4 classrooms and an office space. We have a wooden cabin in the garden called the Hangout, which has got a range of musical instruments for the children to go and do musical classes or just go and enjoy time in there. We have a building that we call the Beehive, which has treatment rooms that we have people come and rent from us and put different holistic treatments on. And we have our beautiful hub, which is where we come together as a community with our community kitchen. We have the use of 2 large fields and the woodland that reside next to us, and we operate basically like a community centre. We're open regularly Monday to Wednesday for home education sessions, but we are also there for our wider community to come and join us during the week for lunches, for gardening, for health treatments, and also just to really just come and be at Hope. We run a massive variety of events that basically keep us funded. But the real success of Hope is that we have remained very true to our core ethos, that we strongly believe that we are ruled by deeply corrupt career politicians who are out purely for themselves, and Hope is the exact opposite to this. We are built purely on love, trust, respect, and liberty. Over to Katy-Jo.
Lovely. Thanks, Sadie. So, Hope ultimately provides a home for like-minded, freedom-loving souls to build community and the reality they want. Hope provides a place where we can offer one another support and live a life of purpose. We provide a venue for home educating families to access a plethora of subjects delivered by independent tutors who hire the space from Hope for their sessions. It was the need for an awake home ed community that started this project off, but Hope offers support to many different people. We have members of all ages that come to spend time with their tribe. Some come weekly, Some come monthly, some come just for events, and some come from as far as Scotland as often as they can. It's an incredible project to be a part of and restores my faith in humanity daily. So we have 4 branches to hope. It's the best way to describe hope is with the hope tree. There are 4 branches, and with these 4 branches, we are providing nearly everything a community needs to thrive. The sharing of knowledge and education is vital for a community to be self-sufficient and autonomous. This happens in many ways at Hope, through workshops, sessions, talks, and in practical ways by getting your hands dirty in the allotment and getting involved in work weekends. We are non-residential, with no plans at the moment to change that, and we firmly believe that this is the reason that we have made it to our 4th year. So let's have a look at the 4 branches of Hope. Health. Our own health is something we must take responsibility for. And at Hope, we have a dedicated space for treatments called the Beehive. During the week, we have therapists offering low-cost treatments in a wide range of modalities, like bioresonance frequency, crystal therapy, Reiki, scalar, and many more. We have a monthly low-cost PHA clinic, offering homeopathy, reflexology, massage, and more. And we have regular workshops and talks on health. Being in optimum health in all areas, emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually, means everything if we are going to have the energy to build the new earth.
And ultimately, health begins with great food. So we know that much of the food that we go out and buy in supermarkets is in actual fact poisoning us. We all have a responsibility to educate ourselves on how to provide food for our families, being self-sufficient, resilient, and not reliant on large corporations to provide it for us. This new world that we're building is about taking an active role in making that happen. And this means that we shouldn't just be providing food to people, but educating them in how to grow it and create it for themselves. At Hope, we're teaching children and adults where food comes from, how to grow it, using no-dig methods, and we have multiple polytunnels to produce beautiful organic food grown with love. And we use this to sell organic veg boxes, but also we use it in our community cooking and also in our cookery classes. So if you get to come to Hope, you will get to experience the amazing food that is grown there.
So events and community is the 3rd branch, and at Hope we work incredibly hard, but there must always be time for fun and celebration. Who had a good time last night?
Woo!
The entertainment last night was amazing and we were dancing our socks off. It was absolutely brilliant. And it's just as important. Sharing good times and making memories strengthens a community and raises the vibration, which is so desperately needed. It was always a dream to hold a music festival at Hope. And at the end of our 1st year, in 2022, we held the first Freedom Music Festival. We wanted to give those artists that had kept their integrity and not acquiesced in order to keep their careers, to share a stage to share the truth, their talents with an audience that appreciates them for the courageous beings that they are. The Freedom Music Festival this year was our 3rd and best yet, with hugely talented artists in the freedom movement giving phenomenal performances. Soonti, Danny Rampling, Slipmat, Victoria Staz Band, the list goes on, and they are all coming back again next year, which will be our 4th year, so don't miss it, get your tickets. The fantastic Karen Dodd, who's heard of Karen Dodd and the Freedom Network, another amazing, amazing project. They have brought the wonderful Uprise and Shine events to Hope 5 times. We also have amazing people at Hope like Matt Letitia and Kate Shamarani deliver inspiring talks, and Katie Hopkins has brought her tour to Hope twice. It's these larger events that bring enough money into the project to keep it going. But we also hold smaller, regular events throughout the year, like Christmas markets, summer fates, comedy nights, empowering workshops, Camp Hope, a week where families can come and camp and experience the home-ed community at Hope for a whole week. The list goes on, and we have practically something on every weekend.
Okay. the reason why we're here, really. Education. My background is a primary school teacher. I was there for my sins for 11 years up until COVID. And honestly, the best thing that happened to me was to remove my children from the state education system. I met Katy-Jo, and that's where hope was born. But let's be honest, schools are not fit for purpose, and it is ultimately a state indoctrination system. The Education Act in 1880 made school compulsory for children aged 5 to 10 years. That was 144 years ago, and in reality, not much has changed at all. And if you look at any other parts of society, huge, great changes have taken place within it, but not in the education system. They're pretty much exactly the same. A classroom now doesn't look much different to a classroom 144 years ago. However, cultural Marxists have taken over, and schools are now places that we hear constant horror stories from. We hear it on a weekly basis. Families contacting us saying their children are suffering terribly with mental health issues, with bullying, with all sorts of issues.
Bullying from teachers as well.
Absolutely, yeah. The woke agenda is rife, and schools are not safeguarding children as they are meant to. Children are being sexualized at a disgustingly early age, and our belief is that home education is the best place for children. At Hope, we highly value education, and this was the reason for Hope's existence in the first place. Educational responsibility, I believe, should reside with parents, the people who know their children the best. And just because we were all educated by a state education system does not mean that it is right for our own children. You probably know better than your parents, which is why you're all here now. Okay, you're sitting in this room. Okay, if you're sitting next to your parent, then they've probably done a very good job because you're here now. So well done, those parents. That's brilliant. Now, you don't need to be an educator to educate your children in homeschooling, but you do need to be an educational facilitator. And it can be very isolating being in home education.
I experienced that with my eldest. My eldest, who's 20 now, when I took her out, when she was 11, halfway through secondary school, first year of secondary school, I just realized that it wasn't right for her, and her beautiful, shining, bright light was diminishing day by day, and I just took her out. I didn't know anything about home education. I just knew it was something I had to do. But I didn't click with any of the communities in my area. And so when COVID kicked off, that was it. I was making it a mission that I wasn't going to be isolated with my other two children.
Absolutely. So because it can be isolating, you need community around you. We need a support network of a wider community, a nurturing community of peers of all ages and other adults. It's so massively important in a home education journey. And at Hope, we have these brilliant independent tutors that rent our rooms and provide the most incredible sessions from babies all the way through to adults. And there is a natural focus at Hope on practical skills, life skills, and creative subjects like drama, dance, music, and art, as well as more academic subjects like maths, science, history, and English, and also trivium. Not all children want to go down the GCSE route, and that is one of the many benefits of home educating, because schools don't offer that. They force all children into the GCSE route. Some children who are home educated do want to go down the GCSE route, and at Hope we facilitate that as well. And many of Hope's teens have gone on to college this year, and we've had our first cohort of GCSE students this summer go through, took exams in sociology, English, and maths, and we can proudly say, although I'm not, I don't uphold and rate their system, and I would love to not have to have GCSEs, we have got 100% GCSE pass rate at Hope, which is fantastic.
Whilst we're on GCSEs, I just want to give use an example for you how you don't have to do the conventional route. So my second daughter, Poppy May, left Hope at 15 and went to college a year early. Because she's home educated, she was able to go at 15. She went to college with 1 GCSE and she did an SQA that year. She's now at 16 in the second year of a degree course with 1 GCSE. So making our children, forcing them to do 9 GCSEs and the pressure that they are under to gain results. Who here uses their GCSEs? Whoever tells anybody, who's ever asked what you got for your GCSEs? You never are. So it's really important that we aren't so fixated on this one size fits all, because our children deserve better.
Yeah.
Sorry, just had to add that in there. So, am I on How Hope Works?
Yeah.
Okay,
How does Hope
lovely.
work, Katy-Jo? Tell us.
The number one reason Hope works is because it is run by selfless, generous, kind-hearted souls that volunteer an immense amount of time and energy into the project, and they do it all for free. And I know a lot of them will be watching, so we love them all
do.
to absolute bits. One of them sat right there.
She is.
There she is, lovely Abby. So, we all know that it's down to us to create our own reality and the world we want to live in, and we can't rely on anyone else to do it for us. We are set up as a CIC, a community interest company, which means we can receive donations, raise funds through events, and ask for discounts and freebies from companies, as we are not for profit. We started this project without a penny and have managed to make it to our 4th year without any government funding or council funding. We survive. Thank you. We survive by running events, fundraising, and on kind-hearted donations. Our beautiful site, although we don't own it, feels like home. And we are incredibly lucky to have a very supportive landlord who's got our backs.
Right. So, everybody needs community. Many communities have sprung up since COVID, and it truly was a great blessing for us all, wasn't it? Come on, people. Yes, it was. Absolutely.
You wouldn't be here now without it.
No, absolutely not. Many of those communities do exist purely online, which has worked for many people and has brought many people together. But remember, online communities can be turned off with a flick of a switch or the pull of a plug. And they know that the worst thing that they can do for human beings is to put us in isolation. It makes us sick, it makes us weak, and it takes away our basic humanity. We were never, ever, ever meant to be isolated. And thank you. And it was a terrible thing for children through all of that era, was that children suffered the greatest out of everyone. But we are not also meant to raise children on our own. We are always meant to be part of community. It is how it's always been done. And the old saying, it takes a village to raise a child, is very true. As humans, we need tangibility. For a real community to flourish, we need space that we can build and we can grow as a community. Hope are very lucky that we have communities across the whole of the UK. They're not just people who live within our vicinity who can come to us regularly. We have members all over the place. And the biggest thing that Hope has and that people bring to Hope is the energy. And it's the one thing that people really notice when they come to Hope. It is so incredibly powerful. The vibrational energy is massively raised every time we have an event at Hope and we bring people together. It literally blows people away. And people don't even have to be at Hope. They feel it as they're coming towards Hope. And it has reduced many people to tears. We even had a wedding this summer, which was just amazing. We had a wedding at our music festival. The beautiful Jess and Davey. We were so very honoured and privileged that they chose to be married at Hope. They couldn't think of anywhere else they wanted to be married other than surrounded by all of their beautiful friends and family. And it was truly, truly beautiful. But ultimately, it is all about living a life of purpose and giving for others. So on that note, I'm going to pass you over.
Yeah, living a life of purpose. It's up to us to give meaning and purpose to life. And it is the absolute key to happiness. I can genuinely say that serving my community is my happy place. And I know I'm not alone. I hear from Hope community members all the time that contributing in some way, be it in the allotment, washing up in the kitchen, performing, cleaning loos, cooking, gives them soul nourishment that can only be achieved by giving to something bigger than yourself. It makes your heart full and makes life worthwhile. Giving without the expectation of receiving anything in return, or without having a personal agenda, is how we create the world we want. It is. A world without the low vibing emotions, the powers that used to be need to survive. A world full of love, hope, and gratitude.
Absolutely. It's about transcending fear. Yeah. There is just no space for it. We have been attacked so many times by the mass media at Hope, sometimes on a weekly basis. I think there's literally some journalists who go to bed thinking about Hope, wake up thinking about a Hope. It's become a little bit silly. But it simply means nothing to us. They are an irrelevance, they're not important. And to be honest, it is a badge of honour. We are clearly doing something that the system do not like when they write about us so frequently. And another cliche, you only get flack when you're over the target. So there we go. Every single day that Hope is open and supporting our like-minded community is a massive two fingers to the system and to the state. And it is by its very nature a protest. We know that they don't like what we're doing because they wouldn't have their media hounds writing all this nonsense about us, calling us a school for conspiracy theorists or teaching far-right rhetoric and all the nonsense they say. The fact that Hope, by its very name, means to have an optimistic state of mind that is based on an expectation of positive outcomes with respect to events and circumstances in one's life or the world at large. I can't believe I've just quoted from Wikipedia. Unreal, but there we go. I Googled it, it must be right. At Hope, we want to create events and opportunities that help people to move beyond fear by acknowledging that fear comes from a place of little or no knowledge, okay, about a subject. So empowering both adults and children with this knowledge is exactly what is needed. It is also about teaching life skills and resilience in children to be prepared for a future that none of us know what it's going to look like at all. So we have actually got a sponsored event going on in November for a winter camp out. And this is to hone survival and bushcraft skills, but also to test children's own resilience and strength to cope with a night outside where they've built their own shelter.
Yeah, that's Matt's idea.
Yeah, that's my husband. He
Just
wants
gonna
to
put
do
that out
this. He's
there.
a massive
It's a little bit
child.
crazy, that idea.
I'm sponsoring you to do it.
Oh,
So because I know how cold you get, we're gonna raise loads of money. The money that we raise is going to go to fund more equipment for the children at Hope. But we will not let them feed on our fear, especially when we had the police arrive at our very first music festival, so arrogantly assuming that we were going to let them on,
yes, come on.
to the very first Hope Music Festival so that they could walk around and check our licenses. We had a line of people stood at the gate to stop them coming in, and they couldn't believe that we had the audacity to not let them on. But we were like, no, you're not coming on.
We don't need your
Absolutely
help.
not.
This is incredibly peaceful.
Yeah,
We definitely
absolutely.
don't need your help. But we will call you if we do. Thank you.
And we had two Jobsworths walking down the lane with body cams on and clipboards to announce that they were
Or running an unregistered school.
It was a bit like that. We're from Her Majesty's Unregistered Schools team, and we believe you're running an illegal
We've seen
school.
children being dropped off.
Yeah. They clearly haven't, because we don't have a drop
No,
off.
it's not drop off.
No.
It's not drop off.
So anyway, they were not allowed on site. They were stopped at the gate and told to leave immediately. And we have since emailed Ofsted to check if we are under any kind of investigation, and we're not. Despite what the media like to report that we are, we're absolutely not under any investigation. They know that we're not running an illegal school at all. So we don't feed into their fear. We all simply transcend beyond it. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Right, the world needs more hope.
It does. The world needs more hope. Our definition of hope, not a false hope. It isn't sitting there and hoping someone else is going to come and save you. There are no saviors in this world. That's been a huge part of the programming we've all been subjected to. Instead, our hope is a positive one, an optimistic and proactive one, approaching life in a goal-oriented way, being creative and finding different ways to bring this beautiful new reality into fruition. Believing that you can instigate change and you can achieve anything. You have to be the change you want to see. You have to create the reality you want. Stop spending time watching all the fear porn, including the worrying about all the negativity and devastation in the world. Instead, spend your time walking the walk and talking the talk. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's not exhausting. I'm not saying there won't be sacrifices, but you will be so glad you did. And anyway, there really isn't any other option. It is down to us. So building community and a better world for our children and the future generations must be everyone's top priority. We have given advice to other startup communities before, but the best way to understand hope and how it works is to come and visit us.
Absolutely. So why is supporting hope important? Why are we even standing here today talking to you, about this project that we've created? Well, we are immensely grateful to Dan and Derek for giving us this opportunity to come and speak here this weekend and to share what we have built. And it has been really, really beautiful to come and connect again with so many brilliant souls. People here who we've met previously, new people we've met, people who are wanting to make a real difference. And that is you guys, so well done. However, the reality is that we absolutely must do more than sitting in a corporate conference room. In fact, I'd go as far to say it is our duty and our responsibility to do more. It has cost us travel money, time away from the millions of hope tasks that we've still got to do, and our families to get here this weekend. So I implore you to please make it worth our time, because whilst we are here to encourage you to build community in your areas, we are also need you to support our growing community at Hope. Like Neil said yesterday, it is the children who absolutely should be our focus. We simply have to create strong communities for all of the children. They deserve so much better than mainstream society. A mainstream society that is toxic for children. It wants children lazy, uncreative, addicts to gaming and sugar, sexualized, robbing them of their childhoods through a woke agenda, being drip-fed adverts for branded goods that they can't afford, depressed and in debt, dreamless and isolated. So by investing in community, we allow children to be children. And it is these home-educated children that think outside of the box, that can be critical thinkers, to be creative, to be problem solvers, that will make the great changes that are needed. These are the children who ultimately are worth investing in. And it is why all of our beautiful, beautiful Hope volunteers give all that they do for free and so willingly. Hope has proven that the model we have built for a community CIC works. We have proven that this can be done, But we do need more support. We need some more support financially. We need people to come and collaborate with us to put on events like this. We need people to come to our events, support our festival, join up as members, follow us on social media, share our events. We are in our 4th year. We are here. We are definitely not going away, but we do need your support because we are the success story. Thank you. Okay.
We can have our advert.
Hope Sussex community has witnessed firsthand the positive effect community home education can have on children and their families, and it is wondrous. Our mission is to support, enhance, and guide freedom-loving families through the empowering and rewarding world of home education. Sessions with tutors start at the incredibly affordable price of just £5.50 an hour and run all day Monday to Wednesday. The groups are small, and as home educators, you can book directly with our independent tutors, attending as many sessions as you like out of the wide range of subjects on offer. As we now begin the 4th year of our journey, our legacy is already taking shape, with children that have previously attended Hope now flourishing at college as critically thinking, compassionate, creative, confident, and resilient young adults. At Hope, we are incredibly proud of what we have achieved and extremely excited to be creating the reality we want, a life and world full of love, truth, integrity, and freedom.
Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.
Make some noise for these lovely ladies, everybody.
Great job.
So much important work. Please do support them. This is why we bring people out here, because we know they're doing great work. But as you guys know, they need the support of all of us. As was mentioned, financially, sharing goes a long way. How many of you are going to share about the People's Reset and tell your friends they missed out? Yeah. Next time, come back with even more friends. Well, we're going to keep rolling along. We've got some more speakers coming up, our final 3 speakers. But before we do that, did anybody purchase a ticket to the raffle out there? All right. Well, we're about to find out who won some prizes. So let's go ahead. We've got 25 things to read and only a few minutes. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to announce the person who won it, what they won, and who offered the gift. And we encourage you guys to stay and listen to the rest of our speakers. But when you get opportunity, go out to the registration table. And if, in case we call somebody's name who's not here, we will be sending out emails to collect them, these prizes. So let's go ahead and start. Luke won the virtual course Navigating Digital Assets by Sam X.
That's Luke
Scrutton.
Scrutton. Yep. Ticket number 11. Ticket number 18, Helen Osborne Marshall. You've won a full day in-person course with Charles Dowding.
Wow. Very cool. All right. Ticket number 30, Susan Riddle won a membership to Clive DeCarle's Secret Health Club, obviously by Clive DeCarle.
Number 59, Andrew Sordell, a 30-day rejuvenation pack by Clive DeCarle. Again, you can collect that from upstairs.
Wonderful. All right. Ticket number 96, Jane Lamy, month's supply of the adaptogen of your choice. Wow. Adaptogenic apothecary.
Lovely. Ticket number 28, Terry Charles, 2 hard copy books, Agorism in the 21st Century by Rose O'Leary.
Very cool. I want one of those. Ticket number 83, Keith Hughes, weekend stay for 2 at Cranley House by Catherine Armitage. Wow, that's awesome. Can I get one?
That's our Catherine from our crew. 75, Joanne Priest, the homeopathy consultation, again with Catherine Armitage.
Wonderful. All right. We got ticket 113, Christine Ashworth won a signed copy of Shift into Oneness by Claire Wiggins.
Ticket number 124, Susan Harley, your choice of a session with Anthony Samaroff.
And ticket number 91, B. Perini won a 90-minute Spanish lesson with Alejandra Palacios. Very cool.
Glad you took that one. 147, Fiona Suter has won a 2-part presentation on the Bosnian pyramids with Jacqueline Carrera.
And ticket number 126, Claire Duke won a copy of Light Bulb Moments by Gloria Moss and Catherine Armitage.
Ticket number 62, Tamsin Fretwell, a starter kit and 2 weeks healing support from Althea Finch, pain-free method.
And ticket 130, Miss S. Hannaford won pain-free experience to nip pain in the bud by Althea Finch, pain-free method.
Ticket number 25, Sally Inglis, copy of The Mole of the Mountain by Jane Gunn.
And where we're at, ticket number 6, Louise Griffith, 10-minute videos for managing in times of change, challenge, and crisis by Jane Gunn as well.
Ticket number 116, Marvin Mohand, £75 worth of gold bullion from Knight's Bullion.
There's still more. Ticket number 121, Philip Rose, Pathfinder membership and reset eating #1 from the Alliance for Natural Health.
Another prize from the Alliance for Natural Health. Ticket number 128, Derek Dearden, another membership and reset eating for you.
And ticket number 41, Ben Hunt, 1-year membership of Weston A. Price Institute from the Weston A. Price Institute.
Ticket number 46, David Cords, £100 voucher and free consultation with Caroline from Blair Bullion.
Penelope?
Yep.
Ticket number 36, Penelope Harrington, the Libyan Desert Glass and Moldavite combo from Claire Wiggins. That sounds cool.
I'm curious. 122, David Milner, £20 voucher for Brand Zero upstairs.
They have a lot of cool stuff. Ticket 119, Chris Dench won. Oh, this is from my stuff. One of my t-shirts of your choice and a copy of my book, How to Opt Out the Technocratic State, which I'm also happy to sign.
Ticket number 51, Anthony Mowat, a day course at Northern School of Permaculture with Angus Suter.
Ticket 180, this is our last one here. Jane Slater, The Great Financial Reset Survival Blueprint Masterclass from Rebecca Bush.
I'll give one more. Ticket number 1. If you have ticket number 1, you can have a free humanity t-shirt from our stand upstairs.
Beautiful. All right, give a round of applause to everybody who bought some raffle tickets and to all of our vendors and everybody who offered those. We really appreciate that. Again, all these sorts of extra things, they help us continue to do these events. And I think you guys have all made some noise earlier. Let's just test the room, test the comments at home. Should we do this in the UK again? Should we go to 5 days instead of 3? Can you handle 5 days? You got to conserve your energy. You can't be dancing as much as you were last night because you're going to be losing your voice like me and burning out. But we want to come back, guys. Truly, we do want to come back. This has been such an amazing experience. And a lot of you have shared such kind words to me. Trust me, I take every single one of those in to the heart, and I really do appreciate it. Our whole crew is grateful to be here. So one of the people that we've been blessed to bring from our People's Reset sort of Western Hemisphere crew is our next speaker, who unfortunately his partner was not able to join us, but we do have a message from her he'll be sharing, and he's going to be sharing a lot of important information for you guys about ancestral knowledge. And I think this is just another key element to what we're building. We're hearing about how to educate the children, how to build alternative education systems, talking about our health. We also have to remember the traditional and the ancestral wisdom and medicine that has come before all of us. Of course, even here in the UK and Europe, you guys all have ancestors and indigenous folks who have had knowledge that were maybe passed down to you that you're continuing to carry with you. Right now, we're going to hear from Yoshi Pantera about some of the medicine coming from Ecuador and beyond. So please give him a big, big warm welcome to the stage.
Yes, hello everybody. Thank you for your time, your energy, and this welcoming from the heart. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, everybody from the People's Reset. So today we're going to talk about regenerative culture, the prophecy of the eagle and the condor. How is this important in today's time? And so with this said, I also want to honor my wife, Pola Pantera. She was supposed to be here. Unfortunately, because of the bureaucracy of having a visa, she couldn't come. And it's interesting because why should we be asking for permission to travel the world? Why should we be scared of going on the airport and feeling like we're some type of terrorist? And this is unfortunate. We've been traveling from the Amazon jungle to the coast of Ecuador, many hours in buses, carrying all our luggage, as well as then to the airport, and then going through a lot of trouble with the bags, and then not being able to come, then raising funds in order to come because we lost a plane ticket. So a lot going on for us to be here, not only because we are part of the People's Reset, but it's also our first time here in the UK. So we're bringing the energy, the spirit of America, the center of the world, Ecuador, the Amazon jungle right here for you. So please, I will love your attention. Yeah. I also know there's a lot of people online watching. I appreciate you being connected from all over the world, saying hello to my friends and family in Ecuador, as well as California, Florida, and Mexico, which we've been creating communities around those spaces. Now, I would like to start by bringing my wife's energy right here through my soul brother in order to tap into the ancestry of the Americas, which is Abya Yala. It's not called America necessarily. There's names before that time, Abya Yala. So I would like to invite my brother here. He's gonna read Pola's words. Pola, my wife, words. It's not AI written. It's her words through what we have learned. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you for everyone's attention. I'm gonna do my best to say this without getting emotional, because Paula was not able to hear it say this herself. Dear esteemed attendees, I thank you for your attention today. My name is Pola Pantera, and I come from latitude 000, the center of the world, Ecuador. It is a country of four worlds distinguished by its diverse bioregions, territories, where Charles Darwin developed a theory of evolution. Here, 14 indigenous languages are spoken, lands where the ancestral legacy still persists, despite the strong colonization and imperialism where year after year, day after day, extractivists want to dominate our natural resources, displacing endemic flora and fauna, and also imposing their civilizatory order to communities that once lived happily in nature. Ecuador is also the place where in 1919, representatives of the original peoples of all the American continent gathered to promulgate the prophecy of the eagle and the condor to unite the original peoples of the North through the South. The prophecy of our ancestor tells us that we are in the times of the corazonar, to heart and to feeling, reason, to heart and to reason. The prophecy says that the eagle and the condor must fly together. The condor is a symbol of the heart that represents the peoples of the South. The eagle is a symbol of reason, or the thought of the peoples of the North. Only when the heart and the reason, the condor and the eagle fly together, peace, freedom and peace, humanity will be able to reconnect to self, to heal and save humanity and Mother Earth, our home. Which today our Mother Earth is suffering the voracity of exploitation for civilization's needs and pleasures, prioritizing the accumulation of capital at the expense of endangering its own existence. The time of Pachatuki, which means transformation, has arrived. It is time for the power of the eagle's mind to open up to receive the wisdom of the peoples of the South, who, despite all the energetic exploitation of people, animals, and the earth, resulting from the capitalistic desires of a globalist way of life, normalized by each world order, despite all this oppression, the original peoples and nations resist and keep alive the teachings of how to live in harmony in this world. I share all the context of our ancestral Andean peoples because we came from the cosmic feeling of life. And I came to Corazonar, to heart and to reason. That is to reflect from affectivity, to transmit what my teachers have shared with me. It has to do with the ancestral wisdom of the peoples of Abya Yala, which is the name of the Kuna people of Panama gave to our continent, meaning land in full maturity, land in full bloom, living land. Abya Yala is the material, symbolic, and political territoriality from where life is spoken, dreamed, fought for, and woven, where peoples have sown their spirituality and wisdom. Corazonado, heart into reason, not only of knowledge, but of living. And it is there where the prophecy is founded, bringing profound cosmic and civilizational transformations that open space for spiritual and consciousness transformations, which will give humanity possibilities to heal its social and subjective wounds, so that we can awaken and feel from the heart, because what is now at stake is life itself. All the wisdom is practical and transmitted through the oral tradition of grandmothers and grandfathers. In 2008, by a stroke of luck, our populist strategy, it was divulged to the general citizenry under the name of the Constitution of Ecuador for Good Living, Sumac Kawase Kasai. The initiative and insurgent document grants rights to nature, autonomy to ancestral communities, and gathers the way of understanding and organizing life of the Andean Amazonian peoples, who historically have been the protectors of rivers, mountains, forests, and jungles, making it possible for you and me to breathe here today. Sumac Kase, which is the Quechua language, means full existence, gives us the guidance for living in community, for relating in harmony with all cosmic existence within a spiritual perspective of time. All this wisdom is represented in the Chicana, which means great union, is also known as the Southern Cross or Andean Step Cross, a symbol of cosmic order and one of the most important sacred references of Andean spirituality. And it is here where the corazón, heart and reason, of the prophecy is sustained, which is the revitalization of the four cosmic forces that generate existence, with the power of Mune effectively, so that we feel the transformative force of love and can weave other realities and interhuman encounter and tenderness, with the force of Yushue, which is spirituality, that we can feel part of the bioverse in which everything vibrates, everything is alive, everything has spirit, everything is in constant movement, so that we rediscover the sacred meaning of life, so that we feel the cosmic interdependencies of the great loom of our existence, with the power of Rore doing, which is linked to the feminine dimension of life, to confront the patriarchal sense of domination and fragmentation of nature, so that we feel the sacred parity of the feminine and the masculine, dwelling in our spirits and bodies, so that we rediscover different ways of doing with empathy and care for life. And with the power of Yake, wisdom, so that we break the tyranny of logos, of Cartesian rationalism that has not made us better or happier and that fragmented our human and cosmic condition by telling us that we are only rational beings. So it is time to learn from the wisdoms of the heart and existence, which have always been teaching us that we are the stars with heart and consciousness, and we are the seeds of God. Sumac Kasaway teaches us to be better people, to know how to eat, sleep, work, dance, meditate, think, love, and treat the earth and all its elements. It helps us to transform in an ecosystemic way the way of living and opens the way of power, balance, and coherence. The spirit of the condor comes from the understanding of unity, of being together with all living beings that are also part of us. The world above, the world below, the world outside, and the world here are connected and are part of totality. The original wisdoms tell us that we have to learn to relate beautifully to respect all forms of life, because it is not what science sells us, that the human is the owner and proprietary of everything. No, the perspective of human authoritarianism is leaving us without water, without jungle, and enslaving all other animals for pure pleasure. When by level of consciousness, humans would be the guardians of other forms of life, it implies decolonizing thought. We are not in balance when we think egocentrically only about satisfying personal requirements and those of our own, while those who generate all that production to satisfy the appetite of ego continue to survive with a minimum profit while extracting all their resources to give to those above. That has to change to heal humanity. We have to empathize and use our privileges to expand prosperity to others, to the territories that feed and oxygenate the whole world. And today, they and that today are the most exploited and impoverished. Researchers from the Global Footprint Network calculated that if all the world's inhabitants led the lifestyle of an average American, humanity would need 5.1 planets like Earth to meet its needs, who undoubtedly reveals the limited resources of the globe cannot sustain the projected American lifestyle. So the fulfillment of the prophecy that is, we, the Korozonar, our heart and reason of way of being on this earth, that we reduce our energy demands, that we slow down the doing to move to being and move feeling thinking in sacred Aini, which means reciprocity, so that we give back to the earth and its ancestral peoples that we have taken from. How? Kora zonado. Every time we go to buy something big or small, we take a breath to ask the heart, does this do good to life? Does this contribute to the balance of humanity? Is this what I am doing to satisfy the appetite and instant gratification of the ego, or for the permanence of the spirit? It is in these micro reflections where the union of the ego and the condor is found. It is the connection of feeling with thinking to create realities with social equity, without human and non-human exploitation, with the least waste of elements and honoring the effectivity that takes care of communication with ourselves and with all the beings of the bioverse. It is to return to our heart center, to remember that we are sentient beings, spiritual creators with common sense, and that we never again let ourselves be crushed by mandates that separates us from nature and destroy ourselves. I invite all of us to have patience as we live through these processes of transformation, sustained by our love for life and harmony. May we live the will and constancy to spiritualize matter and materialized spirit. For what good is it to you to have thousands of things if you don't have peace in your heart to relate to your neighbors? Or what use is it to stay alone meditating all the time if you're not capable of getting your hands dirty to build something important for the community? Let us be coherent. Let us be integral, so that our way of being, way of thinking, and way of doing are in perfect alignment, giving us balance and motion, allowing us intrinsic evolution and freedom. It is now. We are flying together, eagle and condor, each one of us being an example of transformation, corazonando the new earth and new humanity. So it is done. Aho. Yeah.
Bro, let's step this way. Hold on. Thank you. I appreciate your attention on that. Bringing the energies of the eagle and the condor here in these lands in the East, in Europe, is very powerful because it's an ancestry vision and wish. And therefore, we want to expand this to our heart and reason. So in order to do that, we're going to do a deep prayer together so we can feel the energy of this. So together, please, we're gonna clap, one clap together. We're gonna synchronize that sound in order to feel the vibration that we're all paying attention. With that sound, we're gonna synchronize our hearts on that one beat. And therefore, we're gonna close your eyes, and together we're gonna follow through the words I'll be channeling from our ancestors to this present moment and to our future generations. So we're gonna do that together. I'm gonna take a moment. And everybody that's online, please do this as well. So let's see if we synchronize. And if not, we're gonna do it again. All right. So at 3, 2, 1, we're gonna, okay? And then we're gonna rub it and put it in our heart. So 3, 2, 1. That's pretty good. Let's do one more time because it feels so good. 3, 2, 1. Yes, rub it. With all the intention, all the love, being present this moment in time. Really, it's getting warmer on the hands. All this energy from all our bodies is just in this nervous system. And open the hands and put it in your heart. Take a deep breath and hold your breath right there. Hold it. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Hold it, hold it as much as you can, and you're gonna let it go very slowly, as slow as you possibly can. It might even go through your pores of your skin. All the air is gonna be going out slowly. Now, while you are taking this moment and feeling your heart, feeling each other's heart, because we are synchronizing our hearts right now with all the love, with all the intention, feel yourself and forget that we are here. Forget everything that you have learned. Forget who you are right now. Forget your body. Just forget it for a moment. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Now, being in the nothingness in everything, expanded in particles around the existence, we're going to feel the energy of all its past, everything that has been in this planet and before, all the life, the animals, the insects, all the humans that have been here billions of years, civilizations, everything that has been existing before us is right here, right now, bringing the experiences, wisdom, knowledge, love, hate, everything that has existed. It's for a purpose. Everything that has been existing in the past that we know of and we don't know of is here right now in our hearts. We honor it. We thank it. Because of it, we are who we are and what we are right now. We honor all the existence of the past, every moment that we can. Feel it, honor it, love it, accept it, and let's use it. In this moment in time, we bring all that beautiful, amazing energy of existence. Again, all life, animals, plants, insects, and all the humanity that existed in the past. Ancestors from different cultures, indigenous from different regions. We honor you. We thank you. We hear you. Abuelo, abuela, we're here for you. Thank you. Taking all this energy, we are in the present moment to honor the future now. And all the kids, the children from the future generations, we are here for you as well. And every decision and action that we do in our everyday life is for you and for us and for our ancestors, past, present, and future is now. Let us not forget. Let us not be distracted. Now that we have all this energy from the past, present, and future generations, we take it all, we take it with all the love, and we create our reality, all this physical form that we know of. We start imagining from the imagination, the thought, the word, from the word, the manifestation of our reality in this 3D is coherence. Imagination, thought, word, action is coherence. And therefore, we're going to create the reality that we want. Now imagine that you are flowing in the moment in time, in no space, in no time. It's just a canvas. And here, we start creating ourselves. From the energy form that you are, start reimagining yourself. How do you want to be physically? How do you want to be living your life every day? How do you want to choose to be right now? And then Let's together create the reality of our surrounding, meaning we have nature, whatever it is, mountains, ocean, whatever you want to imagine. Imagine it right now. Where do you want to choose to live? Maybe with a beautiful deck with a view of the ocean or the jungle or just community. You want to see your community playing around, the kids hugging the abuelos and las abuelas. You want to imagine all that. Imagine how it feels. Imagine that everybody's smiling. Everybody is gifting each other. You realize there's not even transactions. Everybody's just gifting and gifting and gifting because there's so much prosperity and abundance. Imagine that we're all healthy, beautiful, dressed like colors and amazingness just shining in our smiles, in our faces, in our eyes. All this imagination is so powerful because that is what we're creating right now in this physical reality. This is what we have been creating. Whoever imagined this world right now that we're living is okay, and we accept it, and we're living it right now. We're learning from it, and now let's reimagine. And that's what we're doing for how we want it to be from now on. All these houses or buildings that are so squared and has very little color, let's just transform that and have it in different geometrical figures with different colors and art everywhere. Just completely transform the entire reality that we have been used to into what we want. And now disappears everything. Let it flow into little particles into the existence of the infinity and come back to our centers right here in this dimension, this moment in time, in this stage, in this city, what we call right now. And before we open our eyes, we're still holding our heart. And we are grateful that we have amazing power with, not power over, a power with, that we can create the reality that we want anytime, at any moment. So let us hold that power right now together, and slowly, with love and intention, we're going to open our eyes, because our eyes is what makes us have this perception of the reality right now. So we slowly open our eyes, take a deep breath, and we're here in this present moment opening our eyes. And we're like, what? How do we come back here? Our imagination is so powerful, ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, that we can create anything we want. So therefore, this is a powerful activity that we can do every day, connecting our dreams to the imagination, to the thought, to the word, to the action, is living in coherence. It's living heart and mind, reason. So with this said, with this action, this awareness, we can come together anywhere, anytime, and create it. Every decision, like Pola said, we're going to buy anything. Water, where does the water come from? Why is it in a plastic bottle? Question, do I really need it? Even if I'm thirsty, am I going to die if I don't drink it? Just let's do that effort and support and connect with who's doing it the most conscious, coherent, regenerative way possible in order to change this whole reality. So with that, I want to thank you. And I'm going to share a little bit about what we have been doing in Ecuador. And maybe we can help you do it as well. Or you can come visit us in Ecuador. So yes, thank you very much. Let's honor that with a round of applause in that moment in time. Thank you. Like the slides, please. Slide first. Okay, this is the eagle and the prophecy part. It's not working to click. Okay, this is a little bit about what we talked about. That is from Pola's sharing, but I'm just gonna go a few slides forward. It's not working like I want to. That's the summa causai. The chacana is the black geometrical figure. This is the chacana in 2 colors of the rainbow, which is the Abya Yala. It's the name of the Americas prior to the conquest of the Spanish. And this is how we're going to start right now. Regenerative culture, damas y caballeros, is the regeneration of our culture. Any culture in the world can be regenerative. Let's take into account that all cultures are who we are right now. So it's not that they were doing anything bad. It's just what it is, and we accept it and we thank it. However, a lot of the traditions are awesome, and thank you, and a lot of the traditions are not aligned to today's time. For example, in Ecuador, there's a lot of great traditional practices. However, after 500 years of conquest, now we eat pork, and pork is part of the culture, and it's fried pork. So it's not regenerative. It's something that we want to eat, transforming and evolving from. So there's different parts of our cultures from different parts of the world that can be regenerative. So let's talk about culture for a second, just a word. It comes from to cultivate, which means that we observe our habits, values, beliefs, arts, language, technology, and overall the social practices that characterizes a group of people in society. So basically, it comes from our habits. Habits become culture, and culture may become tradition, thus building our surrounding reality based on human needs and desires, lifestyles. So let's observe all our reality right now. Let's observe our city. It's built based on our needs, on our desires. It's not built based on life, on prosperity for all. So we want to observe that. Here, from Daniel Wall's book, Regenerating Cultures, he really describes that we live in a sustainable world, and that's great. However, that word has been marketed in a way that it's the best thing we can be doing. However, like Paul and I say, if someone asks us, hey, how's your relationship? Sustainable. we realize that that's not the word that we want to use when we want to really change things. So, for example, the UN uses this word a lot with different principles and observations and goals, but we want to go a little bit further than that using the word regeneration. So as you can see right in the middle is basically it's a sustainable, it's really sustaining. Before that, we really live, and most of it still in a degenerative culture. Like most of our actions in our daily lives are part of exploitation, contamination, and all that. So now let's move forward to regeneration. So as you can see right in the back right here, we have in the middle. Then I'm going to move to this beautiful art, one of the amazing arts, first ones that I saw about 10 years ago, from Mark Hansen. Right in the middle, right like the slide before, a lot of people are in the middle. We are not either going forward to regeneration because we're held, by the past or by the comfort of the lifestyles that we have. One big one is the bathroom. Our feces and our urine goes dependent by the government system. So we're so dependent to the government, including our feces and our urine. Now electricity and water as well. All our basic needs are covered, and therefore we are dependent for the system. Just because of that. Now let's move forward with the food system, the economic system. We're dependent completely. That makes us so dependent that we can't even move forward to a regenerative lifestyle as easy. And there's more beautiful details on this art that you can check out online and really take deep on what it really means for you. So let's ask this question. Right now, what is the one thing I do on a daily basis that benefits all life? Let's ask yourself that question really quick. What is that one thing I do that benefits all life? Anybody has it? Señorita. Sleep. That's good. Love. That's good. Shimboling. If I heard right, she has a system where she does the laundry and then it helps the water being used again. I can't hear very well. Oh, using minerals. Okay, using rocks in the water system to drink the water, to can filter. Oh, okay. I can't hear very well, but she has a system interesting that she uses for the feces. Thank you. What? Breathe. Awesome. Exhale the gas of life. Awesome. So every element in nature has multiple functions to benefit all life. The trees, the animals, the insects. Humans are the ones that least participate in the ecosystem, as well as actually make it worse. So let's really observe in our daily actions, decisions and actions that we want to really evaluate that and then make sure that we're actually participating. It could be gardening, it could be recycling, but further down, let's create complete new systems and stop participating with the degenerative system. And one of the biggest actions we can do is community gardening, because when we create life, life itself has multiple functions to create more life. And another thing is the economic system. When we start using fiat currency, we stop feeding the big corporations and the big governments, and therefore stop degenerating life. Let's move forward. Hello. Okay. Really quick, the pillars of regenerative culture. We got regenerative living, which is really focusing on the self, healing, meditation, breathing, exercise, and just having a beautiful, harmonious lifestyle with yourself, your family, and your community. We got regenerative education. There's really a lot of beautiful options that has nothing to do with conventional education. We got regenerative economy, which we have many options as well, and from crypto to social coin to time banks. We got regenerative business. That means businesses that are not part of the exploitation, but rather regeneration, where the products come from, how is it produced, and how is it delivered. We got regenerative technology. As you know, let's stop feeding the big corporations, Google, Facebook, and Instagram, and all that, and let's use autonomous private technologies. We got regenerative governance, which is let's stop depending on these other governments, have self-governance systems like sociocracy and overall community, smaller community government systems that are independent completely from the current systems. This is regenerative arts, meaning that let's focus and observe the arts that are spread out around the world, the conventional art that we think is beautiful and everything, and at the same time, we don't realize it comes with a different vibration that keeps us in a lower state of creativity. An example for this is different genres of music over time. We can see that hip hop sometimes was too dark, or punk rock or rock and roll. There was times that it was really dark, and this was expanded further by the mafia of the musical industry. And today it is more of a reggaeton. If you're familiar with reggaeton, it's more sexual, like dark energy. So we want to focus that all art expression is acceptable. We honor that, but at the same time it's being manipulated through those who know what's happening with vibration and frequency, you know. Now we got regenerative spirituality, which is so important to understand. Like if we are talking about being connected to spirit, then let us connect to our personal health. If we're not healthy, then we're not necessarily connected to the spirit itself. If we're not connected to the land and life itself and every actions that we're taking to create more life, then we are not being coherent with ourselves in the spirit realm. So that means that regenerative spirituality is focusing that is not the conventional spirituality that we think it is. So therefore, we want to be observant and mindful of that. Moving forward, here is the ethics that without any of these pillars, they cannot work if there is not love in the center, as well as self-care, earth care, animal care, and our healthy relationships. Yeah. Regenerative culture is a collection of decisions and actions from human lifestyles that benefit all life while establishing harmony with all natural systems. Now I'm going to take this forward where regenerative culture is being applied currently around the world, consciously or subconsciously being applied by different eco-villages, communities, projects that are helping regenerate life. However, particularly us, with our community, our friends and tribe, we are taking action in Ecuador, mainly where I'm from. And in Ecuador, we started in 2014 by helping to regenerate the community in the Amazon jungle, as well as Mexico this year, actually in January, actually in Florida since 2020. And this is part of the prophecy in the eagle and the condor. I'm going to move a little bit forward because I went along with the prayer. And this is Ecuador, Mexico. If you're interested to create community in any of these places, I can help you connect right away. This is a community we're building. This is the retreat we've been doing since 2014. And what does this mean is that if you're thinking about community and eco-village and just changing your lifestyle, we can help accelerate the process from the awakening to the action by giving you a little taste of how it'd be to live like this in our retreats. Now, can you please put back the slide? These are the principles to live in coherence. Please check us out on our website, seedstranscendence.pro. These are projects that we have been establishing since 2009, actually. And this is our new project right now. Rio Muchacho is in the coast of Ecuador. Here we have 10 hectares of land for 35 years being planted, over thousands of trees. We have 7 fruit forests, 5 gardens. Come on, slides. All right, so in this place, we are looking forward to create a complete, it's been for 35 years, thank you to Nicola and Dario. They've been planting and regenerating this land for the past 35 years, and now they're retiring and moving to New Zealand, and they're basically passing the project to us, and we want to make this project a complete new self-sufficient. That's them right there with their kids. They are retiring. They're a beautiful couple, and it's funny because Pola and I kind of look and have the similar energy. So we are very grateful to take this project of theirs to the next level in a way that we are combining our forces with theirs, and everything is done for us. Instead of us starting on eco-village from scratch, they have the whole thing set up. We can sleep 44 people there. We have self-sufficient systems from energy, water, as well as gas, propane, not propane, methane from the animals' feces in order to cook with that. And that's us meeting every day since then for the past few months. And this is about the land. We got 10 hectares, 20 minutes from the beach, sleeps 44, 15 to 2,200 guests annually, 15, 30 kilos a day of food, 60,000 trees planted, food production year round because it has tropical and dry humid climate, which is very rare. We got richest biodiversity in the coast, living river year round, ancient history from the Valdivian culture before the Incas. We got a beautiful community of neighbors, relationship with local government, reputation of permaculture courses. Now, check this out. We want to build 2 luxury eco lodging We want to regenerate the cabins that they're already. Pola and I open our restaurants. We have a lot of restaurant experience for health. So we want to open a restaurant there. We're going to do a temple of arts, a really high quality, top-notch audio and video studio production, arts and crafts lab, permaculture farm production, which we already have, but that's everything that this place basically and eventually would have. The regenerative farm store, the regenerative educational programs that are already in place, regenerative healing center and spa that we have already in place because of our experience, the regenerative gym, which is natural gym instead of metal equipment. We have all nature stuff. Tropicana Productions, which events production, seeds retreats because it's accelerating the process of the awakening to the action, venue rentals, and of course bird watching and zip line. So here the situation is that all this project right here cost $11 million. We want to be ahead of technology with AI, really making sure that we have this whole project very, very well established for future generations. And therefore, within that budget, we're buying 2 more lands, one in the Amazon jungle and another one in the south of Ecuador, creating a trinity of this project. The way it's going to be so successful is because within that budget of 11 million, we have the best marketing team in the world. Really, we're going to hire the best marketing team in the world because I don't want to do it anymore. I really love and enjoy connecting with people, but at the same time, it's so much energy. Now with the AI, they're increasing the algorithms to make it harder. So we are basically assuring that we're ahead of the game with the amazing, powerful changes that are happening in the world right now, especially with technology. So therefore, if we want to step away from the current systems that are not serving us, then we have to take this type of action. I invite you to be part of it in Ecuador. As soon as we got this model, which is basically almost done, we see that in the next first year, we have everything built. In the next 3 years, we make all our money back. And therefore, by having the Trinity, we can replicate or help more eco-villages to be created, as well as regenerate those eco-villages that already exist. Because, as you may know or not, there's 90% of eco-villages that are not being successful. They fail. About 3 to 5 years, 10 years at maximum, they fail because the systems are not being implemented. We have the systems. We've been doing this for over 10 years now, and we know how to make sure that you have a dictionary to know what we're talking about and saying, what is love for you? What is spirituality for you? What's community for you? Or principles that we shared, or ethics, or just learning how to communicate without violence, learning how to make decisions together as a community with no hierarchy. All these things and tools we already are implementing, and we can share others how to do that as well. So those are very basic and important actions that need to be taken, and therefore we are going to help the world in that aspect. I don't have to do anything. I can be living right now in peace with nature. But there's a mission inside of me that's activating me and Pola to really expand this around the world. And therefore, and gratefully, we've been invited to these conferences to share and connecting with the right people to take action now. Now is the situation. So if you're that one person that has $11 million, or if you have a group of people that want to be part of this, it's very important because $11 million is not much. There's houses for $11 million and they're not regenerating at all. And there's cars for like 100 or 150,000. There's the money is there. Let's spend it wisely. Let's use it wisely. So if you know of somebody that can help and be part of this, let's connect right now as soon as possible because the time is of the essence and here we are to take action. We're ready, more than ready. So thank you very much. I appreciate you. A little bit of time for questions. No, we're done? Okay, thank you so much. I love you. I love you. Thank you, my brother Dan. Come up over here. We had a lot of story together. He just joined our team, our tribe this year, and we've been living together, and there's a lot of story behind that. We have a store with an Amazon jungle and Andes products, support us. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Wow. What a story. And isn't it incredible to have people from all across the world hearing the stories of resilience, community, freedom. Give it up for our guys all the way from Ecuador. Thank you for that. We just got a couple of quick messages from our kind sponsors again, who without their support alongside yours, we would not be able to make this possible. So Hakeem, can you just cue the sponsor messages for us? Thank you very much.
The People's Reset is proud to partner with Expat Money, a world-renowned consulting firm dedicated to helping freedom-oriented individuals like you create a solid backup plan in offshore jurisdictions. Expat Money's global team of researchers, policy experts, and lawyers can assist with your personal strategy for living abroad, obtaining second passports and residencies, securing real estate, and mitigating tax obligations. Our friend, Expat Money founder and CEO Mikkel Thura, is a lifelong traveler and immigration expert who developed his strategies on the ground, visiting over 100 countries, living in 9, and learning directly from legal experts around the world. And there's no better way to start your journey than by joining us for the upcoming Expat Money Summit this October 7th through the 11th. This event is completely free and will be held entirely online. Over 5 days, we'll dive into the crucial topics affecting those who value freedom above all. Get your free ticket here, 2024.expatmoneysummit.com.
Are you? Or is it using you? Rise above mass surveillance and discover a phone that protects your privacy and communications.
Above Phone does everything your old phone does, without tracking you, while giving you complete control over your phone and apps. We are better than big tech. It works with any self-service. No forced logins. No advertising or tracking. Download apps privately. Control your phone and its apps with secure hardware. Introducing Above Suite. Includes a VPN, private email and calendar, private chats, video calls, internet phone, and a search engine. Don't worry if you're new. Every phone includes a free 45-minute live call. You also get free email and chat support, free guides, and video courses. You have the power.
Rise above with Above Phone.
AbovePhone.com.
Thank you. It's been a real honor actually to partner with brands that represent our values. Can we take a moment to give it up for the amazing vendors upstairs? Who's had a wonderful conversation with some of the vendors upstairs? Just give it up for our vendors that are upstairs. Thank you. As part of this, what some may call rip and replace or exit and build strategy, the key is finding the alternatives, and that's what we've tried to do here. And it's actually very challenging to find the brands that not only have the quality of the products or services, but actually truly share our values and the commitment that we're making here. So it's been really great to spend time with our groups upstairs and for our wonderful sponsors. So now I have the pleasure of introducing John Bush. Now, Derek has known John for a long time, and it would be far easier for Derek to tell their history. But it's my hope that I get to know John even more in the years to come. We're already talking about how we can introduce the Freedom Cells to a deeper level in the UK. He's the founder of Live Free Academy, and he's spent most of his adult life, quite frankly, fighting for freedom. I recently had him on my podcast, and he told the story of coming up against barriers when it came to political activism. And he said, there's another way. There must be another way than simply going to government officials to try and find a path. And ever since, he's been pioneering the exit and build strategy alongside Derek Burrows, launching the Freedom Cells, and has been an integral part in this event. So it's my honor to introduce John Bush this afternoon, who's going to help us understand how can we craft a vision for the future. We know firsthand, Derek and I were at the UN just last weekend, that they have a very clear view of their common agenda, their common future. They're literally calling it their common future, crafted by unelected bureaucrats and their corporate partners. Well, what's the alternative? John's here to inspire us to think about our own vision for the future. So please welcome John Bush to the People's Reset UK.
Check. Okay, all right. How is everybody this lovely afternoon here in the UK? We sure love hanging out with our mates on the other side of the pond, across the pond. Hope you guys forgive us for whooping up during the revolution. No, I'm just kidding. In all reality, the UK continue to be in cahoots with the United States and the Anglo-American establishment. That's a big foundation of the conspiracy that we find ourselves fighting here today. So I just want to take a moment to thank Derek and Dan and their team for everything that they've done. Let's give them a round of applause. Great event, great people, great vibes. And go ahead and give yourself a pat on the back for showing up. There's all sorts of different things you could be doing. I know it costs money to get here, but more valuable than money, time, and attention. So I want to thank you guys for being a part of this beautiful movement that we all find ourselves being a big part of. So I have been diving deeper into spirituality lately, and it has really played a major role in my life and benefiting my life. And I just want to start with a prayer. And when I pray, I like to pray to God, the creator, the father, the mother, the grandmother, the infinite intelligence, however you may want to refer to it. For me, the essence is the recognition that we're all one human family, one energy, and that we ought to love one another like we love ourselves. Above all, we need to love ourselves and love God, right? So I'm going to say a quick prayer. I hope that you guys will join with me. Just want to call on God to give me the strength and the courage to deliver this message today, to speak through me, to give me the grace and the patience to carry forward this work. And I ask that you grant this audience the courage and wisdom to recognize the power that lies within them. Help them to identify their divine purpose and overcome any insecurities, limiting beliefs they may have that are holding them back from achieving that purpose. Thank you. Okay, all right. So we have been having a great time here in the UK, and on the way over here, we ran into those pesky little face scanners, right? My good friend Ryan, who's here with us, he went on a trip with his lovely wife to Italy before this trip. And he was saying that he wanted to take this trip because it's only a matter of time before the digital IDs are rolled out. And there's going to be all these restrictive requirements to enter into EU in the UK. Well, come to find out, that is actually happening next month at EU and later in the UK, that you're going to have to scan all your fingerprints and take a facial recognition picture. And that's going to be stored in a digital ID. And that was a big eye-opener. We all see that this is coming down the pike, but unfortunately, it's accelerating. We know 2030 is a big key year for their agenda, and we can expect between now and then all sorts of stuff to take place. But I do want to encourage people to be hopeful and to have faith that everything's going to be okay, but not to lose sight of the fact that it's up to each and every one of us to play a role in creating that better world. My lovely wife and I went to London before we came here, and we saw the changing of the guard at Buckingham Palace. Anybody seen that? You guys seen that? It's kind of weird when we walked up because we were there as tourists, right? But instantly when I walked in, I had this like judgment, like, what is it? All these people like in awe and worshiping the crown. It's just like this weird vibe. And there was all this anti-terror police out, and this one guy had a fake baby and an earpiece. It was like so obvious. I don't know what he was doing there. He wasn't fooling anybody. It's like a middle-aged tough dude with this fake plastic baby. And it just made me realize that this struggle between the ruling class, the predator class, and the people has been going on for quite some time. But a key difference between then and now is that the technology now exists to completely end the cycle of revolutions, so those in power maintain that power by creating a total surveillance state, panopticon society. But as I said, I am an optimist, and I do strongly believe that we can upset their agenda, if not holistically for everyone on the planet, at least for our community that values freedom. When we come on trips and go to Mexico and now in the UK, we like to mix it up with the locals. So we always try to make our way out to the local pub and strike up some conversations. And it came as no surprise that there's a lot of people that know what the New World Order is. And there's even more people that believe government is a total shit show. Part of my French, part of my English. So that's always positive. We were hanging out with this family also as an older woman, as a grandmother and her sister, and then 2 daughters. And then the 3rd generation was there. They were taking them to a show. And we were mixing them up, telling them about this event. And they're like, so what are you going to vote for, Trump or Kamala? Who do you support? And we said, we don't support either of them. They're both total clowns. We're trying to create an environment where we can self-govern and we use alternative systems. She's like, oh, that's never going to happen. I said, well, it is already happening, actually. Many of us are trading amongst ourselves. We live in an intentional community on 10 acres, and we're off the grid, and we're trying to become more self-sufficient. We have a whole community of people raising their kids together, trading amongst themselves, hiring one another. And as we were saying this, this woman's daughter, she said, you guys sound like you must not have taken the shot, huh? And we're like, yeah, of course we didn't. And she's like, I tried to tell all my family, but they wouldn't believe it. And she started going to the World Economic Forum and all this stuff. And it made me realize that we far outnumber them, the predator class, but they out-organize us. So what I'd like to convey today is a vision for the future that has to do with leveraging exit and build strategy. But I do want to make the point that how can we fulfill our vision for the future, a genuinely free society, when so many of us are stuck because our limiting beliefs, our own self-doubts are holding us back from even accomplishing our own goals. Many people don't even have goals and they find themselves drifting without a definite purpose through life. So I'm going to share today is some self-development work that has helped me along the way. And I'm going to invite you again to join me in this vision that I like to call Agora 2030. All right. So there's this great quote from Napoleon Hill. Are you guys familiar with Napoleon Hill? He wrote Think and Grow Rich. He wrote a bunch of other great books as well. And he said, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Now, the conception part's pretty easy. We all got great ideas and visions for what the future could look like. But oftentimes believing in our ability to make it happen is the biggest challenge. And those are 2 necessary elements to achieving: conceiving and believing. Okay, so I want to share, this talk is going to be for folks that are just getting started in this movement, that are just getting red pilled and waking up and feeling a little overwhelmed and maybe have a lack of direction. But it's also for the leaders, the organizers, the artists, the entrepreneurs in the community as well, because none of us are living anywhere close to our full potential. And it's my hope that we can get closer to our full potential so we can create the world that we desire, not just for us, but for the future generations to come. Now, this talk, it's called Agora 2030, conceive and believe to achieve. And 12 years ago, I've been doing this for 22 years, more than half my adult life. So that's given me 2 key things. It's given me perspective, and it's given me a lot of patience because I'm getting a little anxious here. But it's really positive and optimistic to see so many people joining the cause. But back then the talk was Agora 21, like Agenda 21, right? Now they have the 2030 agenda. Thankfully, they had to kick the can down the road. They're not fulfilling their goals either because the people are just upsetting them and it's taking a little longer than they expect. Back then, my goal with that talk was to help push people away from politics and believing that someone else is going to save the day for us and help them to understand the revolutionary strategy of agorism. Now, we talked about agorism yesterday. It was one of the key themes. I like to refer to it as revolutionary market anarchism. It's not about competing within the system for power within the system. It's about competing with the system, creating entirely new systems. Now, I still have the same goal as part of this talk, although I think you guys are far along the way, probably fed up with politics by this point. They just keep pulling you back. You know, every time we try to get out, they pull me back in because everybody just, it's always the lesser of 2 evils nonsense. But now the big key difference in my development as a person, as an activist, as a father, as a husband, is that I recognize that self-development and mindset and even deeper having a recognition of our spiritual selves plays a major role in the work that we are to do, especially if we're seeking to change the world. It's only going to be inevitable that we're going to hit resistance. So, like I said, I've been doing this for 22 years, and in that time, I went through truthing. Back in the day, we used to pass out DVDs. You guys remember the DVD players? We used to have like a 10-stack DVD player, and we pass out 9/11 Truth DVDs. That's when I woke up in 2002. I caught a Alex Jones documentary called 9/11 Road to Tyranny. I got the documents right here. So I was there for the beginning of from being a DWI suspect, they had plans to pull you over on the side of the road and withdraw your blood. The cops would do that. So we dressed up like vampire cops and paraded around downtown and made a big stink and got press releases. But we actually put forward an ordinance at the city level that passed, and they didn't train the police officers to do blood withdrawals. They just hired nurses and had them at the jail, and they forced you to do it there as well. So this was kind of like, all right, we're putting all this effort in, we're having these victories, but are they really victories? Are they creating greater freedom? Or are we simply slowing the growth of tyranny? There was another effort where we pushed back on this thing called the Fusion Center. This is a Department of Homeland Security system that merges the information gathering and intelligence sharing practices of local, federal, and state law enforcement. So basically, it would bring the FBI to the local community police, the local community college police, the municipal police. And they were, of course, tracking protesters, right? So we started pushing back on them. We got a bill passed at the state level, and we had another ordinance passed at the city level that would have required privacy policies for these institutions so that they couldn't collect information of a political, religious, or social view. We're like, yeah, a victory. Let's go. So much effort, so much energy, so much time, so much attention. Come to find out, several years later, there was a leak. It was like a hack from Anonymous. And they hacked the Austin Fusion Center, and my name and Derek Brose's name were in their database for organizing a Freedom Cell meetup. Now, mind you, the Facebook post was like, what would happen if instead of sitting by when police are abusing people, we went and tackled the police officer? We're exploring these questions if we should be passive or whatever. It's pretty provocative, but nonetheless, it's protected speech. And obviously, it shouldn't put us in a threat liaison officer, shouldn't put us in a database. Anyway, I came to realize that at the end of the day, politics is simply banging your head against the wall. Are you guys vibing on that? So I started to explore alternatives, and I came to the realization that if we want to create freedom, it's up to each and every one of us to take responsibility for creating that freedom into our own hands. Does that sound like a good idea? Y'all resonating with that? So we started exploring alternative institutions, homesteading, trading in alternative currencies. This was back before I learned about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So we're encouraging local farmers market vendors to accept silver dimes. In the States, pre-1964, it was 90% silver. Later learned about Bitcoin, which was great. And then Monero, which is the extension of Bitcoin, the true vision that we're all going for. And it was in 2015 that I came up with this idea for the Freedom Cell Network. So it's like, well, there's so many of us, and we all recognize the values of liberty and the idea that we should live with voluntary relationships. But so many of us aren't living free. What's missing? And that's when I came to the conclusion that we have to have strength in numbers. We have to unite, we have to connect, and we have to get organized. And that was the birth of this Freedom Cell Network idea. Started a company more recently called Live Free Academy. We help people create greater freedom through courses, events, webinars, workshops, all sorts of good stuff. More recently, my wife and I bought a 10-acre homestead in Central Texas, and we built an intentional community. There's 8 adults that live there, 5 kids, maybe 12 chickens. We just hatched some more, 7 ducks, 5 dogs, 4 dogs, too many dogs. There are too many damn dogs. But it's great and it's very fulfilling. And oftentimes when it seems like there's chaos in the world and everything's about to come crashing down, I take hope and solace in the fact that we have this community, not just the community that lives at our ranch, but there's a huge Central Texas community and the hundreds of people that get together regularly to support one another. So we've been doing this work. We've been educating people. We've been growing the Freedom Cell Network, hosting great events, bringing people together. And we have a huge ambition now. It's our aim to create a 100+ acre intentional community in the private realm, meaning the property will be stewarded by a non-statutory trust. It'll be organized and governed by a private membership association, and we'll be starting a fellowship called Freedom Family Fellowship, which will have a 508c1a designation that's in the tax code. That'll be an income tax exception. It's not an exemption that you have to get approved from, it's an exception. By becoming a church, you're not required. In fact, it would be unlawful for us to pay income taxes. So this is a big project that we're embarking upon. But as we move closer to this project, I start to feel this resistance because as a person, I need to do more growth in order for this to be a success. Our team has to do more growth. So what I want to convey to folks is, somebody said it the other day, I think it was Derek, that we all need to become the best versions of ourselves if we are to change the world, if we are to leave a legacy of liberty for the future generations. So I'm going to talk a bit more about exit and build strategy, but I also want to lean into mindset and helping people to identify their definite purpose. All right, so we know the vision of the enemies, right? Can people shout out, what's a part of the vision of the Great Reset, the Pact for the Future? What are the elements of it? Let me hear. Control, depopulation, technocracy, centralization. What was that? Consumerism, global government. All right, all terrible things we want to have nothing to do with, right? That's what their vision is. It's been their vision for quite some time. But like I said, the technology now exists to make this vision a reality. Back in the day, it was just a speculative thing they were all hoping for, sitting around at their little circle jerk round tables. Pardon my French, my English. Essentially what they're going for is a top-down hierarchical surveillance panopticon society where after generations, people are socially engineered to no longer really understand the concept of freedom and to most definitely be too terrified to even talk about it, contemplate it, or host an event like this. There's 4 key pieces of technology that will usher in this technocratic agenda. I call them the 4 horsemen of the technocratic apocalypse. Digital ID, central bank digital currencies, social credit score, and the vaccine passport. Now, the vaccine passport, the vaccine checks were just the first iteration or implementation of a technology that aims to control our very movement. 15-minute cities are also a picture of this. The idea is to keep people locked down in specific zones, not allow people to travel because the carbon output for that time frame is exceeded the allotment. That's what these vaccine passports will transform into as well. MyPass is a project that the World Economic Forum is working on. This agenda's been at play for quite some time. You could trace it back, this conspiracy, to the Milner Group and the Roundtable groups and the Royal Institute of International Affairs and their counterpart, the Council on Foreign Relations. They're getting together, and the big challenge is they're thinking generationally. They're thinking in terms of centuries, and we're thinking in terms of elections. Or how are we going to pay rent next month? This has been a tight month. What are we going to do, right? So I'm going to encourage people to think bigger, to pull out of this me, ego-driven, make my life comfortable, or even make my life more free, and recognize that we all have a role to play in shifting the tide away from tyranny and technocracy towards freedom and human liberation. And just, again, we've all been brought here to this event for a reason, and I think it's a really powerful thing that we're a part of. I, for one, am blessed. to be a part of this. Now, their strategy is problem, reaction, solution, false flag, terrorism, 7/7. They've been talking a whole lot about cybersecurity strikes, right? So problem, reaction, solution. Also divide and conquer. Black versus white, straight versus gay, left versus right, blah, 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 blah. And another key piece is social engineering. They want to program people to believe they're impotent. Now, of course, in our freedom movement, we often are on a pedestal. Well, I took the Red Bull a few years ago. I got it all figured out. That's right. I know there's a new world order. Shame on you for taking the shot. And now let me proceed to word vomit all over my family. Blame them for not wanting me around anymore and see how things go. Anyway, I just want to encourage people to recognize that we too are programmed. And oftentimes the programming that we fall victim to has to do with fear. Fear, 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 fear. And as Derek was saying, fear results in clicks, of course. So it's no wonder that there's sensationalist headlines and everything's blown out of proportion. And the Civil War was already supposed to kick off, I don't know, 12 times by now in the States, maybe 17 times here. I guess maybe it almost kicked off recently, but how much of that whole riot thing was manufactured and played up and disinformation? We're victims of disinformation too. So I just want to encourage people to step out of that fear, because where our attention goes, energy flows. And I think, you know, the greatest trick the devil played was convincing people he doesn't exist. The greatest trick that the New World Order has played on our freedom community is convincing people that they're all powerful. They're not. They're weak. In fact, I believe that they have an insecurity in this weird megalomaniacal thing, which is precisely why they seek power so much, because they probably had a traumatic upbringing. Some of them were in weird sex cults. Now they're just being deployed on the rest of the world. So they're completely desensitized to any moral integrity that a human being would naturally have. Not to mention, in order to carry out their agenda, they have to use darkness and deception. In order to win from our perspective, we just have to shine bright with the divine light that lies within each and every one of us. So they're the ones that have to cheat, steal, and rob. We just have to align with our nature. All right, so they have Agenda 21, the 2030 agenda. We have Agora 2030. They have these big goals for 2030. What are some of our goals? If we were able to create, actually, I'm not going to say if. When we create the ideal world that we all deserve, that's in alignment with our nature as free, powerful, beautiful human beings, what does it look like? Let me hear. What does that look like? A free world. We've upset their agenda. We're all experiencing this ideal life. What are some characteristics of that world? Vibrancy. Life-enhancing technology, that's right. Good soil, indeed, huge piece. What's that? Equality. Free energy. What do you got? Collaboration. Community. Healthy relationships. Free travel. Not having to ask permission. All right, this is all good stuff. Let me ask you guys this. What's holding us back from creating that? We are. We like to point the blame at the New World Order, but in all reality, there's no reason why we can't live that way right now. Sure, there's going to be some friction, and sure, there's going to be some risk involved, but I would encourage people, we all need to put a little bit more skin in the game, because if we don't, our children, our grandchildren, and the future generations to come, they're not going to be able to come to events like this. I mean, think about it. In communist China, it's very difficult to even research what took place on the Tiananmen Square. It only takes a few generations for people to actually lose sight of this concept of freedom. And the only reason why it's still alive today is because there are places that are more free, and some people have access to information to see that. But if the tide continues to turn and the world continues to grow darker, the light of freedom could go out forever. So rather than being a victim, we were born today, it's so hard, the lockdown, the taxes, the tyranny, I choose to be grateful to be alive during this time, because we get to play a role in the animating contest for freedom. And as the last speakers were saying, it's not a choice, it's a duty. If you have the knowledge in your head of what's taking place and what's going on, you have a duty to act upon it and do so in a selfless way. And if you're worried about the bureaucrat knocking on your door because you didn't get a permit to water your lawn, I want to challenge you to think about the people that have sacrificed their lives and gone through so much more than that to create the freedom that we enjoy today. I want to encourage you to do more. Okay, so that's our vision, Agora 2030, decentralization, voluntary relationships, harmony with the land, living the good life, our children frolicking in a field of daisies with butterflies popping around, eating some good grass-fed beef. All right, what's our strategy? Our strategy is exit and build. Exit the systems we disagree with and build new ones. And this can go two different ways. It's on two different levels. One is a household exit and build strategy. And the other is what I call meta exit and build strategy. Exiting and building as a movement to create the new world that we all desire. Now, the exit and build strategy on our personal household level, I understand it can be overwhelming. A lot of folks are completely in the matrix. They got the retirement accounts. They don't know how to use crypto. All their money's in the bank. They have all their food from the grocery store. So to kind of take away that overwhelm, which often leads to inaction, I want to encourage people to take stock and to do what I call an exit and build self-assessment. We have a membership program and we take people through this exit and build self-assessment. And that's just to think really accurately, to get real with yourself and ask yourself, what areas am I most vulnerable to control by the predator class? Okay, and I tell you what, if you're dependent on your income entirely from a corporate job, for some retirement account or some entitlement program, I worry as the CBDCs get rolled out, you're going to be faced with some difficult decisions if they require you to take a shot or to stay within a certain amount of carbon that you could let out into the atmosphere every month. That's why it's important. You don't have to go all the way full agorism. This is what I call the inside-outside strategy. Don't abandon your home. Don't abandon what you've worked for. Don't put yourself at risk. But slowly but surely, or quickly if you so choose, probably should go a little faster than you think, start to create greater independence and resiliency in your life. So you don't have to get rid of your retirement account, but you should have an outside the system source of income coming in to where if you're faced with that difficult decision and the retirement payments get converted to CBDCs with strings attached, you have an exit plan, an escape plan, called the inside-outside strategy. Basically, the point that I'm trying to make is you can kind of take the big picture goal of becoming completely free and chunk it down into small, practical, consumable steps. It doesn't have to be some big overwhelming thing. You don't have to go full on. We all really should go closer to where Derek's at. No tax accounts, none of that stuff, no bank, all this good stuff, right? He sets the bar pretty high. But let us at least start working our way towards that, away from dependency towards independence, away from technocracy towards freedom, okay? All right, and then there's a few key areas that I really encourage people to focus on when it comes to exit and build strategy. That's the counter economy. That's creating alternative systems, trading in alternative currencies, and then land and community. Let's get back to the land. If we can't move out of the city into the country, let's find a community garden. Let's pool our resources together, rent a space, rent a little empty lot down the street, and let's grow our own food, or at least give our business to community-supported agriculture programs and local farms instead of the grocery store. Not only creates resilience in the local economy, but also helps create independence when it comes to our food. All right, my little time clock went off over here, by the way. All right, cool. So that's household exit and build strategy. In order to pull this off, it's important that we all become more independent in our household, our family, our personal lives. But let's just not stop there, okay? And we have a bunch of clients with Live Free Academy, and I often recognize some of them just want, and there's no fault in this, of course. Ayn Rand wrote about rational self-interest, but some people are just like, I want to be more free. I want to keep more of my money from the government. Just really want to implore people to take part in this mission we're all on and to engage in this meta strategy. Because like I said before, the enemies of freedom, the predator class, they've been working at this for a really long time. It's going to take a lot of work. Not only a lot of work in the physical sense, but a lot of internal work to become the people that are capable of doing what it is we need to do in order to turn this around. And so what does that look like? When I think of the strategy behind creating Agora 2030, I've been thinking about this concept of the Confederation of Freedom Communities. So Pola and Yoshi have stuff going on in Ecuador. Derek's got a property in Mexico. We have some close friends in Tennessee that have a property. We have our own little homestead and we're building a larger property. Our good friend Jonathan England has a property in Costa Rica. And these are all intentional communities that are populated with freedom people that are exiting and building. And many of these communities are built in the private realm. You guys familiar with this private realm idea? You got the public system, the matrix, asking for permission, licenses, government surveillance, government being able to come and just say, no. This sounds more like a school. And because it's a school, you got to do A, B, C, D, and E. We're going to be checking on you each week. And the private realm's like, hey, man, we're just free people connecting together privately. It's not offered to the public. It's a private membership group. And we're operating not from your matrix man-made laws, but from God's law and divine law, the essence of which is to love God and to love one another like we're ourselves, because we all are one after all. And this private realm thing is something we're exploring deeply. And I do think it's a great practical bridge between where we are and where we want to go, because there are lawful instruments like a non-statutory trust, which has its foundations here in Europe, by the way, non-statutory trust, private membership association. And then the 508c1a is uniquely American, but there's other applications to do religious activities, which has an extra level of protection. And ultimately, at the end of the day, if you come to an event like this, if you're engaged in this freedom thing, this is spiritual battle that we're embarking upon, whether you consider yourself a spiritual person or not. On the other team, they're pedophile, satanics, like psychopaths. So they're doing weird rituals and worshiping Moloch and all sorts of nonsense and channeling that dark energy. So I suspect I really want to encourage people to get right with themselves and with God, whatever that looks like to you, because the work that we're needing to do, this is what's brought me closer to God. In addition to my mom struggling with cancer, I need help. And I've decided I needed to call on a higher power for that strength and that to help me align better with my purpose and overcome those struggles that are holding me back. So I want to encourage folks to do the same, and that's what this private realm concept is all about. We actually do a free webinar. We're having a free webinar in like a week or so, October 8th and 10th. If anybody's interested in this model, we call it the Trinity. Again, it's a trust, a private membership association, and a 508c1a. You can sign up. It's a free webinar, livefree.academy/Trinity. livefree.academy/Trinity. So our hope is to unite and group together these communities. We trade amongst ourselves, we support, we defend one another. If there's a conflict in this group they're having trouble resolving, they can go to a council of elders that's comprised of our whole deal. And essentially, we're creating our own infrastructure for a free society. Because as I pointed out before, we outnumber them, they out-organize us. It's time for us to get organized. And one of those structures that can help you to get organized is the Freedom Cell Network. It's just getting together with a small group of people, connecting, working on common exit and build goals, and then linking up with other small groups of people to form a larger group. And then that larger group, maybe it spreads across Wessex or Bath or Birmingham. Bring the Scottish down if you want to have a good time, the Scots. But each one of those is a larger group, and they form into one bigger group. And the beauty of this model is that you can scale an organization, but do so while never taking on an air of hierarchy. You always remain you always remain horizontal in nature. So you never have hierarchy, which can lead to corruption, which can lead to leaders taking power and hurting people. You can always disassociate, decouple. It's a very resilient method of organizing. All right, that's the vision, that's the strategy, but there's a challenge, right? We all want this so badly. I can see it in your eyes, right? That's why we're here. But oftentimes the biggest hindrance is our own limiting beliefs. And it comes up time and time again. I saw it in one of the micro activations. They're like, we should buy land. Somebody's talking about homesteading. And sure enough, in the audience, but it's too expensive. They'll just take our land. Klaus Schwab said, we'll own nothing and be happy. And I always get to thinking, like, there's people whose first instinctive response in their mind when someone brings up an idea of how to create greater freedom or do something big, the first thing is a limiting belief, as opposed to, wow, that sounds pretty cool. Might be a challenge, but I'm excited. I can make this happen. So I really want to encourage people through mindfulness, being present in the moment, aware of your thoughts. Anytime someone says like, hey, we should be exploring this cryptocurrency thing, these decentralized payment systems. And people are like, well, I've never been good with technology. I can't possibly figure that out. Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So, I mean, in all reality, you could step into a space of empowerment where literally we can achieve our dreams and live a life that is in total alignment with our values. And I'm telling you what, it's only us that's holding us back. And it's that mindfulness and that lack of belief that we often have within ourselves. Because our family, I mean, can you imagine growing up with World War II taking place? I can't imagine it happening here in Europe. I was looking at London. We went in this tall building and had a cocktail overlooking the whole city. I was like, oh my God, to think that this entire place had bombs just dropped all over it. Look at Paris and everything. That was just a couple generations ago. And the people that were alive during that time had children, and there was so much trauma. It was a trauma-based society, and it still is. It's no wonder that we've been born disempowered. We don't know how to express our emotions. I'm not saying we don't, but many people don't. And many people in this room, myself included, still struggle with this. So it's no wonder that we're in a state of disbelief in ourselves, that we're feeling disempowered. But I got news for you, folks. When you can align with that beauty, that wonder, when you can find your definite purpose in life, what lights you up, what makes you just feel so full of energy and grace and beauty, that you know it's what you need to be doing. When you can align yourself with that, you can cut through any limiting beliefs. You can cut through any false hope, any doubt that you have in your mind. And it's a necessary element for us to achieve what it is that we need to do. So anytime someone says, hey, let's buy this, let's go to this course, when they started selling tickets for the event, they got all this pushback because people were giving them a hard time about it being expensive. I totally get it. The cost of living is hard, but it takes money to put on an event like this. It's not like they're lining their pockets and going out and buying a gold watch with all the profits. They'll be lucky if there's $1 in profit or £1. £1 a little more than $1. We came to find out as we're here. But I just want to encourage people again, oh, I can't afford it. Don't say I can't afford it. You say, how can I afford it? Right? I know that money is hard, but in all reality, they're printing trillions and trillions of dollars. All you got to do is find out how to provide value to other people, align yourself with a mindset of abundance, and that money will flow to you. It's just yet another example of these limiting beliefs. So I just want to encourage people to push through those limiting beliefs, believe in yourself, identify your definite purpose, and plow forward with life, uniting with other freedom lovers in order to achieve and accomplish these goals. What do I got, like 5 minutes left or so? Should I just keep going? I'm just gonna, 50 minutes? What? Okay, all right. Okay, so yeah, the vision, Agora 2030. The strategy, exit and build. That means exiting and building in our personal lives and working with other people, asking for help, asking for support. Secondly, it means exiting and building on a meta level, uniting with other freedom lovers. Now, I was going to do an event in London, and I was like, we should do an event. We should do like a meetup. Let's go look on the Freedom Cell network and see if there's any UK groups. And much to my dismay, there wasn't a single one. There is. Well, then let's get you guys on the Telegram directory. If you want to hang out with me, we'll make sure that it's findable. So I took the liberty to make one for the whole UK area. If there already is one, we can just link them up or whatever. But if you guys have your phone, you can scan this, and this will take you to the Freedom Cells Telegram group for the UK. The idea is to have a group for the entire United Kingdom, the whole thing, but not Ireland, right? I'm just kidding. The entire British Isles. I love the history over here. You guys are like warring with each other, but then we're hanging out at the pub and having a jolly good time. It's all good, but there is a sweet spirit of independence that's still alive in spite of the growth of all that tyranny. It's up to you guys to channel that independence and to have victories and to let that momentum build. So this will be the Freedom Cells UK meta group. So that's the entire UK, the entire British Isles. And then within that group, you guys can link up and be like, oh, we're here in Oxford and we're in Birmingham. And I don't know how many boroughs there needs to be in London because it's a gigantic megacity, but you form smaller groups from there. Okay, guys? All right, so we got the vision, we got the strategy, we're working together on a bigger strategy, connecting with our friends in the UK and Ecuador and Mexico and Texas. There was actually Freedom Cell groups in North Korea. We saw them on the map and they listed a directory. And then a few days later, it disappeared. And I was like, what's up with that? No, I'm just kidding. There never was. Maybe someday. Anyway, all right, so, and then we need to get right with ourselves through mindfulness. We can learn to control our thoughts because oftentimes people are their own worst enemy. and that insecurity and that program gets played out, that program that was imparted upon us by our parents who went through trauma, by bullies in high school, by the media, we just start to have this doubt and this negative soundtrack in our thought. But I tell you what, just like you can tune a radio, oh, this is garbage music, let's tune over, oh, some WFX, yeah. You too can also tune your mind so that it aligns more often with that which you want. And this definite purpose thing, guys, a definite purpose is like, it's a goal. It's something that you just focus all of your energy and attention on achieving. And I want to encourage you to have a definite purpose in your life. Maybe it's like, I need to heal that broken relationship with my son. I hadn't seen him in 5 years, but I love him to death and I know I can fix it. Or I really want to get my family out of this financial rut because I know that we could do better and we're struggling to make ends meet. It's causing so much stress at the house. So have a definite purpose for your life to enhance your life, and then have a definite purpose that's part of this big mission that we're all part of, because every single one of us in this room has a role to play. Focus on that definite purpose, have a passion and a desire to achieve it, and you will find the universe conspiring in your favor. Okay, guys, the mindset's a huge piece, as is the spiritual piece. And I'm going to end with something. I still got like 45 minutes. I want to encourage you guys to leave a lasting legacy of liberty for the future generations. When you reach resistance, as I reached, we got this big ambitious project. We're going to buy 100 acres. And you know what I found my resistance manifested itself in? Me being a total dick to my wife. Sorry, love. And she's like, you're being an asshole. I thought we were trying to do this. I'm like, no, it's got to be this way. But in all reality, that was the insecurity within myself. We're not ready. It's going to be so hard. We're going to be overwhelmed. So instead of like recognizing that, I'll talk about it on stage though. I wish I would have recognized it in the moment. Instead of recognizing that, I lashed out. No, and it was like a self-sabotage thing. That resistance will arise. And I want to encourage you to push through the resistance, recall your definite purpose, recall that vision we were talking about with the kids skipping through the field of butterflies, right? And the beautiful soil and the harmony. And recall that we're in this not just for ourselves, but for the future generations. Now, a lot of people have fear about this. We're exiting. Maybe we're going to start the school or shift the school program in the private realm. And when the UK bureaucrats come, we're going to tell them to pound sand because it's a private community and they have no jurisdiction whatsoever. And when I said the risk, what's going to happen? They're not going to lock you in a gulag. You're not going to have your head on the chopping block. Some nanny state bureaucrat is going to have her panties all in a bunch and probably go home, maybe come back a week later, maybe not, I don't know. Have all your Freedom Cell people show up with cameras in their face when they come back. There's a lot of fear, and that fear ultimately is what causes us to drift. It puts us in a hypnotic rhythm, and it takes us off of our path. I want to encourage you guys to have faith, not fear. When it comes to getting out of the country, when it comes to the Great Reset, if we all opt out, because I have a good belief that a huge number of the world population, they're already going along with the agenda, but not for us. What are they going to do when we just disobey? When we refuse to put the fire out at the voluntary bonfire? Where's David Rodriguez? Is he in here? Love that guy, David Rodriguez. This is actually written about in one of the World Economic Forum's own documents. It was an article titled, "Welcome to 2030. I own nothing, have no privacy, and life has never been better." It says, once in a while, I get annoyed about the fact I have no real privacy. Nowhere I can go and not be registered. I know that somewhere everything I do, think, and dream of is recorded. I just hope that nobody will use it against me. Who's their marketing director for that one? And then this is what it says. And when I read this, I'm like, that's us. My biggest concern is all the people who do not live in our city, those we lost along the way, those who decided it just became too much, all this technology, those who felt obsolete and useless when robots and AI took over big parts of our jobs. They live different lives outside of the city. They got upset with the political system and turned against it. Some have formed little self-supplying communities. Others just stayed in the empty and abandoned houses in small 19th century villages. That sounds quite nice, if I may say so myself. All right, friends, I want to invite you, if you're already here, you're already part of it, but I want to invite you to double down on your commitment take part in this movement to leave a legacy of liberty for the future generations. Recognize there's strength in unity, there's strength in truth, and there's strength in numbers. We have all those on our side. We just have to recognize that divine power that lies within each and every one of us, take the right strategy towards creating our dream world, and I promise you, my friends, we will achieve liberty in our lifetime. Thank you.
Don't leave yet. Make some noise for John Bush, everybody. Make some noise for this brother. If you enjoy my work, give even more thanks for John, because I wouldn't be doing it without him. He's the first person to introduce me to these ideas back in 2011. And by the way, John, as soon as we had that up there, like 30, 40 people joined the Freedom Cell UK right now. So keep joining. We'll put that up as well. And for those of you online, we'll post it as well later. All right, we're down to our final speaker. You guys still with me? Don't leave just yet. Take a quick bathroom break if you need, but I promise you're not going to want to miss this final presentation. I just want to mention two things really briefly. We do have an evening event tonight, and I promise you're not going to want to miss this. This is going to kind of bring things to a nice close and grounding for everybody who's been here all weekend. There's going to be a cacao ceremony, what we call a music temple, happening tonight in this very room. If you're a musician, if you've got a guitar, if you've got a drum, you're going to want to bring it and come experience that. I promise you're not going to want to miss that. It starts at 7 p.m. tonight. So we'll wrap up shortly after 5, take a break, and be back in here at 7. And the other thing I want to mention again, for those in person and those online, this is only available till Monday morning. Maybe late Monday. We are offering the best deal we can for the People's Reset Mexico tickets for only $100 US. If you go to the website, go to the tickets page, use coupon Viva Mexico, and you're going to see Dan's coming back. John Bush is going to be there. Yoshi's going to be there. I'm going to be there. Lots of other great speakers. We'll probably bring some more people from the UK. We hope you'll join us out there. So thank you for welcoming us to the UK and for inviting us back again. Now, our final speaker of the night is, of course, somebody who's helped make this event happen. It wouldn't be possible. Before we even bring him on stage, let's give a big round of applause for Dan Astin-Gregory, everybody. I know those of you, Dan and I only met just over a year ago in this very room. I was sitting somewhere over there listening to Dan give a speech at the Better Way conference and thought, I need to bring that guy to Mexico. He needs to speak at our event. And we did that. And Dan came down. He partied so much he lost his voice by the time he was supposed to speak, but he still gave an amazing speech. And we've just been, we've become fast friends, and we're doing great things together. It feels good to meet another brother from across the planet who is just as motivated as I am, who has the fire within him to keep growing and keep working on solutions. And together we're going to continue to do beautiful things. And I know that he has been a voice of sanity for many of you in the UK and elsewhere during COVID and beyond. And so I want you guys to just give Dan the biggest welcome you can, give him all your attention as we close out the People's Reset UK with Dan Astin-Gregory, everybody.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you. No pressure. Last speaker of the day. Not that I've been chilling all weekend in the last few months. Thank you for being here first and foremost, and thank you for those kind words, Derek. It does mean a lot to me. And in fact, Derek has been a great inspiration, not only for bringing this event to the United Kingdom, but actually he's been a great inspiration for me, and I'll share why in a few moments. But I've titled this talk eventually this morning when I got to Derek said, "What are you talking about today?" I've titled it "The Path to Inner Freedom," and I want to draw upon some of the things that John Bush talked about, because I ultimately believe that the only thing standing in our way for the things that we dream of is the person in the mirror. And I can say that with relative conviction when it comes to my own life. And I'm going to share a little bit about some of the challenges that I've been through in order to be able to do what I do here today. Because people see me on stage and they see me, we've done 1,000 podcast episodes in the last 4 years, 1,000 episodes. That's a lot of talking. But as a child, I was the quietest kid in school. And people don't believe, they laugh. I heard the giggles. They don't believe you. It's true. The school reports all said it year after year after year. He's very intelligent. He's doing really well and he's making great progress. But he's very quiet and sits at the back of the room and he keeps himself to himself. People don't believe me when I say that. And Mum still hasn't found the school reports. I said, you've got to find them. I need the evidence. Got people who question everything. They don't believe me. I need the proof. But Derek shared his story of being incarcerated. And it made me reflect as I heard his story. And I thought, I haven't been incarcerated in the same way. I haven't been kept in a cell, a prison cell. But I have been kept in the cell of my own mind. I have incarcerated myself over my life. Because let's think about it. To go from the quietest kid in the school to now finishing at an event like this, speaking during the course of COVID in front of 50,000 people at Trafalgar Square at the height of the activism, something had to change. That doesn't happen automatically. I wish it did. Very easy. So today, really, I'm going to share a little bit about my own journey, about how I freed myself from my own incarceration, because I know, and actually my real intention for this talk is to liberate the power and the dreams in every one of you. Because over the course of the last 3 days, we've shared a buffet of ideas. But how do we transform those ideas into reality? How do we carefully and gently encourage you, voluntarily, of course, to embrace that path, to take your own hero's journey? Because I've had to confront that journey for myself. I've had to embrace that. And there was a distinct moment in 2020, which I'll share, where I felt like a tap on the shoulder moment. There was a voice from somewhere, whether it's my higher self, God, the universe, spirit, whatever you want to call it, I don't know. But there was a voice that said, if you don't step up and lead now, after all the chances you've had, when will you? And that felt so powerful to me on the basis that in mid to late 2020, we were in the height, in my view, of tyranny. We're literally locking people in their homes. You're literally telling people that other human beings are a risk to your survival. There was billboards in the United Kingdom for our American friends that said, treat other people as though they have the virus. Truth. Imagine walking around believing that the other person is a risk to your survival. That is psychotic. But there was an inciting moment for me, this moment where everything changed. And I don't need to go through my whole story. Most of you may have heard it about what led me to being very critical about what happened. It's very simple, but what really led me to step up and lead was a moment when I was walking past this beautiful primary school, and we've talked a lot about education over the course of these few days, and particularly today. And this beautiful primary school is just a couple of minutes from my house when I used to live in Bristol. And they've got this wonderful mission statement painted on the wall. And they've listed out all their values, their intentions for their children. Now, I don't know if they live up to those values or or anything about the curriculum and the quality of the education there. But every day I would walk past that school in normal times and hear these children, these wonderful children screaming during break time, having fun, playing, running around. And day after day during COVID of walking past that school in silence, this, you know when it's so silent that it echoes. But I could hear those children's voices ringing in my head as I walked by. And that's when I had that inciting moment. And it said, if we're going to treat our future generation like this and you're not going to step up and do something about it, then what are you going to, what is it going to take for you to finally overcome all those doubts in your mind that's stopping you from leading? Because that's ultimately what it was. That's my point about being incarcerated. It was only my own fears and doubts. And of course, during COVID, we're in this very, it's a very tight environment. It's a very difficult, very constrained environment where anyone who spoke out was labeled and smeared, and that continued to today. So I can understand why people may keep a low profile. And I'd done so as well. I'd put some things, by that point, I was actually going to protest, but I hadn't really stepped up to lead. I put some few things online and, you get the hate. It's not exactly incentivizing to keep going. Because we look at pain and pleasure as real motivators, carrot and stick. And all if you're getting is a stick for doing the right thing, it isn't exactly driving you forward. But this wasn't the first time I'd come face to face with my fears. Most of my adult life, I'd been grappling with it. Most of my adult life, I'd kept myself incarcerated. I was still the quiet kid in school until I was nearly 30 years old. And in fact, It was a life-changing moment in this very city when I was 29 years old, where I made the decision to leave my corporate job behind. And again, for 5 years, I knew I wanted to leave my corporate career. I knew I wanted to leave it, but the comfort of the salary outweighed the pain of the dissatisfaction that I was feeling at the time. But I reached this point of leverage when I said enough is enough, just like I did on that day outside that school. And sometimes we need something outside of ourselves to bring us along those lines to go, enough's enough. But we don't have to wait for it. I've been to lots of events like this in the last few years, and even more over the last decade, because learning to me is the key to growth. You know, how we empower ourselves through knowledge. But knowledge only becomes wisdom when we actually apply it. Which is why I'm going to give you this talk today, because I want you to apply what we talked about here today. And I want to gently help you get to that point where you say, enough's enough for me. I'm going to start leading from this moment. I'm going to walk out that door feeling different than I did the moment I came in. And that's not because you're exhausted because you were partying so hard last night and dancing like crazy on the dance floor. It's because you made your own decision. You made your own decision. And again, I've mentioned over the course of the last few days that Derek and I both share a passion for understanding the origin of language and reclaiming some of the language. And there's a brilliant book by an author called Robin Sharma called The Leader with No Title. We don't need a title to lead. And people almost shy away from the word lead. And I looked it up and it's fascinating. The word lead comes from an Old English word, which means to guide. To guide. To cause to go with oneself. To go before as a guide. To accompany and show the way. And everyone that set foot on this stage this weekend is absolutely a leader. They've made that choice. They're walking their talk. And many of you are as well. But I know that many of you have also had that feeling deep inside. Many of you might be feeling it right now where you feel incarcerated. And you know that that power inside of you is just bursting, waiting to come out. But these little voices in our head aren't because we're crazy. They're here to help us survive. The voice that says, hey, wait a minute, before you cross the road, you're going to get hit by that car, is a sensible voice. But when it says, am I really good enough? Can I really do this? It's doing it to keep you safe, of course. But real change only really comes at the edge of our comfort zone. So let me ask you this. Are you sitting uncomfortably right now? No, you're sitting too comfortable. You've got comfy. Let's mess that up for you. Let's get uncomfortable. I just want you to stand up for a minute, please. Just stand up. I'm not going to make you do anything crazy. Just stretch for a minute. What I want you to do, just to stretch into your body, feel back into your body again. Just allow your body to move. And I'm doing this to make sure we don't get too comfortable, because ultimately, if we go back to our lives tomorrow feeling comfortable, nothing's going to change. I want to help you get to that point where you, for yourself, say, enough is enough. I'm ready to go beyond my fears and doubts. So while you're standing in your body, I just want you to feel into your mind and your soul, and do this at home, and your heart, and just ask yourself a self-inquiry. Where am I currently incarcerating myself? How am I currently constraining myself? We all know about the constraints and control mechanisms in the outside world, but let's look in at the inner shackles that you may or may not have put upon yourself. But just take a moment of quiet reflection to feel into that. Now I can see you getting uncomfortable. I didn't want to go there today, Dan. It's nearly the end of the day. I thought we were going to walk out here happy and excited. We are. We're going to walk out here, all of us as leaders. You're already leaders. So I want you to just hold on to that for the moment. Hold on to those shackles and understand, because in a moment, over the course of the next 25 minutes or so, I'm going to help you at least attempt to let go of some of those constraints. Because I know from firsthand experience what it feels like, and everyone's story is different, to go from feeling completely unworthy, which is how I saw myself, completely unconfident, to transforming into someone who's now willing not only to stand on this stage, but to stand in the face of tyranny and say no. And not just to do that, but to keep doing that. And it doesn't matter what you utilize your leadership for. It could be, I'm going to go grow that garden. I'm going to go transform my health. I'm going to go start a school. I'm actually going to go and help that project. We need to get those ideas in our head that stop us from doing that and leave these in our room so we walk home with power. So I'm going to ask you to take a seat for a moment. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for getting uncomfortable with me. Don't get too comfortable, though, because we will be getting up again shortly. Last time I did something like this here is with dear Neil Oliver. Who enjoyed Neil Oliver, by the way? What a guy. What a guy. Oh, beautiful human. He had me on stage, seated here at the Better Way conference. So this is our very hotel, hosted by the World Council for Health. He was ready to interview me. And he asked this question, and it triggered something in me. It triggered a story that we had at lunchtime. I was telling one of the young people that had come to the event, back to the youth, over to the youth is the name of the brand. In fact, we've got one of the representatives over the youth here today. I can't see you right now, but I told him this story of this amazing video that Derek Sivers, who's is a dot-com era entrepreneur, he put this video, he was examining how movements are formed. And he showed, through commentary, this video of this crazy dancer, a bit like me on the dance floor last night, if any of you saw it. It was wild. There were some brilliant moves on the dance floor last night. I look forward to seeing the footage. But it takes that crazy first dancer to do the moves until one other person then looks at that person and goes, they look a bit crazy, but they're not that crazy. And actually, I feel like moving my body too. And then you get the crazy first follower. And then the crazy first follower then dances along. And then eventually, these weren't the moves I was doing last night. They were way more intense. Dub effects. Like, yes, it's almost like heavy metal. I was like, it's full on. It's like a mosh pit. My body feels like I've been gone through a washing machine. But then more and more people follow. And the video shows how one person after the other end up getting up and dancing. So the first leader steps up, the guide. Then the next person comes, the next person comes. And it's shown through history, actually, through many different examples, when other people, there's a tipping point, when it basically gives permission to say, actually, this is where we're all going. This is what we're going to do. Look, everyone's coming. And there's like, in that video, there's a stampede of people who just rush to be part of this dance. Now, that poor Neil, he was just asking me questions, and I actually literally demonstrated that right in front of them because I've been talking about it at lunchtime. So I started dancing, and the guy who was with me from the youth knew exactly what I was doing, and he started dancing as well. And it literally happened, unprompted. We had everyone dancing in the room at the Better Way conference. It was crazy. So don't worry, I'm not going to make you do that tonight. You know, I'm ready to get a little uncomfortable, Dan, but, you know, it's been a long weekend. We can dance later. Poor Neil, he had to go through that. But it takes that person to be the guide to show other people that it's okay. It's okay. Embrace that journey. The safety we're craving actually comes from entering the cave that we fear the most, to borrow a well-known phrase. I'll borrow several well-known phrases. I'll try and attribute them, but I can't remember who said these things. Don't credit me, they're not mine. So I want to take a leap of faith here myself, and to lead from stage this evening, again, inspired by my dear new friend, Derek Brose. When I went to Mexico and saw Derek Brose performing his art in so many forms, his music, who saw his music last night? 33 in the house. Yes, give it up for 33. Wow. So many creative expressions. And I've been witnessing Derek since 2020, all the work that he's doing, including the Greater Reset at the time. And I thought, how does this guy get so much done? How does he do it? Like journalism, he's in people's faces outside the WHO. He's just doing so much. It's wild. Now I understand because we've both been doing it together for the last 6 months. But when I saw his art, it reminded me of, again, something that I'd suppressed inside of myself. When I was a teenager, the way I would express myself was really internally. I used to write a lot. I used to write poetry. But I was always too afraid to share it with anyone. And I've got this lovely kind of box of all the poems I wrote. And I loved going back to them once in a while because it reconnects me to my youth, part of me that I still recognize, but I've changed so far and I have love and appreciation for that other part of my life because it helps me understand the path to where I am now. But I've written a poem for you tonight. Would you be willing to allow me the space to share it with you? This is now me getting out of my comfort zone. Again, to lead is to guide. And I can't just come up here and talk about it. if I'm not going to do it. Can't promise to perform it like Derek Bros, but I'm going to give it a go. I've got that. We actually set up some music for something else, but we don't need music for this unless Derek fails. You know, if WFX walks in and wants to drop a beat, you can. In cages built of gilded lies, where shadows dance and freedom dies, we rise, a chorus, strong and bold, a tapestry of stories told. Our voices unite, we break free from the bind, a symphony for those confined. No longer will we stay unheard, our spirits like a soaring herd. We resist to defend our rights with righteous anger burning bright. We are the sons of the battles yet to be won. We are the daughters of the sun. Our roots will not be trampled. We reach for the sky. A powerful resistance nigh. We'll shape the future with a bold design, a masterpiece of unity divine. Though the tyrants grip and grasp with iron fist, the beat of our hearts like drums will not be missed. The rhythm of our freedom's call, we will echo through the crumbling walls. We are the many, not the few, a rising tide, a vibrant hue. For every dream they try to steal, 1,000 more our spirits feel. With fire in our souls, we stand defenders of this promised land. Thank you. Thank you. I did that for me as much as I did for you. Stepping up takes courage. I felt my palms tingling as I was doing that. But damn, I feel good having done it. So maybe in Mexico, I'll practice my voice and do a little beat behind. We'll see. Don't get too uncomfortable. So, in the last 20 minutes, I want to take us through a bit of a process. This is something I've also never done. This is, again, borrowing from giants. Because it's one thing to know intellectually how we're holding ourselves back. Did everyone, by the way, get something in their head? Did something emerge for you, the way you're holding back? Not all of you. Not all of you. Some of you, the fear of even going there is enough to stop you even looking. That's okay. I'm not here to force anything upon you. This is a voluntary journey. But if it's okay, in the last 20 minutes that we have here, I'm going to help you try and find that inciting moment for yourself so that you feel confident and empowered to lead in the way that you wish to lead. Is that okay with everyone? Thank you. So there's an English author called Charles Dickens. Anyone know Charles Dickens? Anyone know A Christmas Carol? Now, Ebenezer Scrooge, the main character in the Christmas Carol, may be actually someone who resembles some of the characters that we're actually going up against. He's a man of business, very serious, very rich, treated people badly. And by the way, don't let us link up rich and abundance with bad, corrupt. That's a story, that's a limiting pattern in itself, by the way. You know, don't allow the fact that people with power right now, the fact that they have money to allow you to say, I don't want any money, I want to be like them. It's different. It's distinct. It's a story. Our money story can actually really hold us back. That's a lesson I've learned by going broke several times the hard way. And by the way, side note, thank you to one of our audience at the back. By constantly referring to others as elites or these profound words, in some ways we put them on a pedestal and we put ourselves in a pit. Why would we do that? We're all human. In fact, I resist now the phrase, we are the 99%, they are the 1%. We are the 100%. We're human beings in every glorious form, even the ones we don't like. So part of reclaiming our power is to stop giving it away. Stop putting others on a pedestal, including the people you've witnessed here this weekend. We're no different. We're all made of the same flesh and blood. We all sit on our ass when we go to the toilet. Just to remind you. We won't go back there. That was Friday night. We're all human. We all have our flaws. But we all have hopes and dreams. And on this final day of the People's Reset, it's my goal to just wedge those dreams open. Those quiet voices in you that do whisper, you are enough. You can do this. Because my belief is, and I know we're here to talk about how we create a free world, Let's think about it. If each one of us in this room, and what is community after all on free and conscious communities? Community is the collection of the people who belong to it. Society is just a function of the individuals that comprise it. Therefore, if more and more of us are able to liberate ourselves internally as well as externally through all of the plethora of techniques you've learned this weekend, whether it's through food or health or technology or education or finance, all the tools are there. But if more people walk out in that world internally liberated, connected with that sense of power that's within themselves, and power is another word that people fear. We're not talking about power over people. We're talking about power over ourselves and how we can empower our decisions and our actions and therefore the results we experience in the world. So my goal is to have as many of you leave this function, this gathering, this activation, truly activated, ready to lead. And I already know I'm feeling scared thinking what that feels like because I'm asking myself the same question. What's the next level? What's next? I'm deeply proud of what we've accomplished here. It's been incredible. And I thank every one of you that said so many kind words over the course of these 3 days. This has been a test for me. There's been many challenges. Yeah, there's so many stories we could share with you. That's one for later on. We have to stretch ourselves. So let's go through this process. Feel back into that sense of inner constraint. Reconnect with that. Why are you talking about Charles Dickens, Dan? Was that just for fun? Charles Dickens was the author of The Christmas Carol, as I mentioned. Ebenezer Scrooge is the character. And in that story, if you know it, there's the ghost that takes Ebenezer Scrooge to the ghost of the Christmas past, the ghost of the present, and the ghost of the future. And if he doesn't change, what his future will look like. And in that story, they take him back over all his past pains and all the things that he's done to hurt other people. And he starts to relive it through these ghosts, recognizing the harm that he's caused. They bring him to the present moment and they show the pain that he's causing and the upset. But then they don't stop there. They go to the future and say, hey, if you keep behaving like this, this is the harm you're still going to create in the world. And you can see, many of you have seen the film. You can, there's an animated picture of this. If you haven't seen the story, it's worth watching because it's so pertinent. If we continue to carry the baggage that we came into this room with on Friday, that's really heavy and holding us back, those constraints, those metaphorical bags, then we'll continue to walk out of this room heavy with a heavy weight on our shoulders. Responsibility doesn't have to be heavy. It can be fun, it can be exciting, it can be light, energizing. This weekend has energized me. Okay, I haven't had as much sleep as I'd normally have, but I'm energized. I'm ready to go. Anyone else feel ready to go? I love that. Thank you. So I want to take you on your own little Dickens process, and it's brilliant that we're in Bath because Dickens himself actually spent quite a bit of time here. The Royal Hotel, he's actually inspiration for some of his locations in his books, and some of his characters came from here. I'm no buff on Dickens, by the way. I just looked this up because I thought it was important. I actually Googled it and said, is Dickens anyway connected to Bath? Oh, wow. Great timing. So I'm going to take you on your own story. You know Ebenezer Scrooge. You're a very different kind of people. But like me, I look back over my life and think about those moments where I had the chance to lead and I backed down through my own fears. And what that cost me. And when I say cost, I don't just mean financially, I mean emotionally, in my relationships that I sabotaged, ill health that I went through, and some of the health problems I've had now in my older years because of the decisions I made in my 20s. I just want you to connect with that thought in a moment, the way that you're constraining yourself. And I want you to take a moment in your ghost of the past and just consider and ponder and remind yourselves in what ways, by holding yourself back in this way, that you missed out on things, or what you lost, or regrets you might have. And by the way, this might be painful. Don't worry, it's temporary. And by the way, this is voluntary. If you don't want to go there, no bother. But I invite you, if you will, Because we're not just going to stay in the past, we're going to come to the present, we're going to come to the future, and we're going to take us on a path out of this door feeling powerful. So take a moment in your head, your mind, your soul, and just connect with some of those past moments where holding yourself back has limited you, constrained your freedom. It's harmed your relationships, cost you money, put you in strife. Because that constraint that you placed upon yourself built walls around you, incarcerated you. Now I want you to come to the present moment, sat right here today. Ask yourself the same question. In what ways are you still constraining yourself? In what ways are you still holding yourself back? In what ways are you still sabotaging? In what ways are you holding yourself back from doing the things you know in your heart you want to do? What are the stories that you're telling yourself right now that limit you? And it's okay if you don't want to go there. No pressure. But I invite you to do so if you feel courageous enough to do so, because when you connect with it, you can really start to feel the pain. Because what we don't want to happen is you to go through ill health and that be your wake-up call. We don't want another tyrannical moment to be a wake-up call. We don't want you to go broke to be your wake-up call, because the external things will always prod at us. Why wait? I've heard so many health stories of health transformation that they waited until they got really sick to make a decision. Don't wait. We can decide today. Now, I want you to project into the future. In the next 12 months, in the next 5 years, if you continue to constrain yourself with those constraints that you've had in your head, your heart, your soul, what will you miss out on? What it's going to cost you? And I really want you to feel this. Please close your eyes and do this. This is a personal experience. Because if you can't connect with the pain of what it's going to cost you in the future, you're going to walk out of here still doing it. What will it cost you? How will it harm you? What will you miss out on in the next 5 to 10 years? Will you even still be here if you don't make the adjustments that you need to make? If you constrain yourselves in this way? Go 20 years into the future. What will you have missed out on? What will it have cost you if you continue to constrain yourself? Place these limits. Hold yourself incarcerated. What will you lose out on? In your relationships, in your health, in your finances, in your personal connection. What's missing because you held on to those beliefs that don't serve you? Those beliefs that John talked about, limiting beliefs, these constraints. What's no longer there because you held on to those fears of not being enough, not being worthy, whatever story that came up for you? Let me ask you this question. Is your future already written? Is that the future that you're destined for? Let me hear you. Let me hear you. No. The future yet has not been written. You are the author of your own book. You are the author of your life. Taking freedom, liberating oneself is taking the pen back and saying, I will write each chapter, each word. I myself have the choice. So I want you to stand up again and shake your body out. Let's stand up. Let's release yourself from that pain. Shake your body out. Now, how would you stand right now if you felt completely free? Let me see it. How would you stand? What look would you have on your face? Make the sound of freedom for me. What does it sound like to be free? Feel it in your body. What does it sound like to be free? Are you standing with more posture? Are you shoulders back? Is your chin up? Are you smiling? Are you feeling powerful? Does this feel better? Now, if we are to truly walk out of here feeling empowered, we need to replace the story that you came in here with a new story, a new empowering story of who you really are. This is exactly what I did when I found my moment of transformation. I had to look myself in the mirror, and I literally did this. I looked myself into the mirror and I listed out all those constraining factors that was holding me back, every single one of them. And I said them over and over, and to the point where they no longer felt like mine. They just sounded like noise, like a broken record. You know the old days when we had CDs and vinyls, if you scratch it, oh, bugger, it doesn't work. It doesn't play the music anymore. We want to disconnect from that story. We want to disconnect from that soundtrack, and we want to put a new one in. Because in order to replace a habit or a belief, we have to replace a disempowering belief with an empowering one. So having been in one of the most empowering spaces that I've personally been in, this room, with the people that we've been alongside, what's a new belief that you need to walk out of here with in order to feel free? Yes, thank you. I'm doing it. Yes. Don't worry what other people think. The freedom. Don't always have to be the one to do it. Thank you. It's okay to make money. I'm worthy. It's okay to make mistakes. Any others? It's okay to give up your possessions if that's what you feel. I am free. I'm happy. They can't contain this. I set an example to guide, to lead. What was that? I missed that. That was a good one. Watch out, here I come. Yes, give it up. Now, step into your body once more. Now, those beliefs that came to your mind, either intuitively or instinctively, they were already there, right? You didn't have to think about it. You didn't sit down and think, what would be good for me? Some of you, by the way, might still be thinking that way, because that's exactly what happened to me initially. I went logical. Like, what's the opposite of that? Here's a little story for you while you're standing. My close friend, she went through a painful breakup. And I said, okay, well, let's figure out, let me help you understand, what is it you want in your next partner? And she said, I can tell you what I don't want. She listed out 5 things you don't want. She said, I don't really know what I want. I said, well, if you just flipped all those 5 on their head and looked at the opposite, would that give? Oh, she's like, oh, that's exactly what I want. And she's married now and got 2 wonderful children. I don't take credit for that. That often. So if you did get stuck in your head and think, I don't know, well, just ask yourself, what's the opposite of the thing that was constraining you? You said, I'm not good enough, then I am enough. And think about it, folks. Just place your hand on your heart for a moment. Can you feel it beating? Are you doing that? Yes, maybe, I don't know. But it's happening by itself, right? Think of the miracle that is your body. All these billions of processes happening without your attention. If you ever forget you're a miracle, just put your hand on your heart. Oh my goodness, thank goodness I'm alive. I'm grateful. Because gratitude, by the way, is the greatest antidote to fear. Anytime you feel fear, come back to that moment of gratefulness, that gratitude, appreciation. And there's an old phrase, and I've borrowed this process, by the way, from Tony Robbins. If you want to do it really intensely, go with Tony Robbins. He will blast your mind. He's big and 7 foot tall. But if you ever need a reminder, just put your hand on your heart and just remind yourself. Because actually, in order to remind ourselves how powerful we are, often we need a little trigger, that reminder. And let me offer this as a gift to you. Next time you feel doubt or worry, just put your hand back on your heart and feel that heart and remind yourself of this moment when you stood feeling what? Powerful, beautiful, and free. So I'm going to be inspired once again by my dear friend Derek. Have us chant as we come into the close of this. I am powerful, I'm beautiful, I'm free. You can take any story and affirmation you want home with you, but let's at least have this as a gift. So place your hand on your heart, standing, feeling powerful. Let me just hear how powerful you feel right now. Make the sound of feeling free. Now with your hand on your heart, join me in saying, I am powerful. I am beautiful. I am free. Okay, now let me hear it like you actually mean it. I am powerful. I'm beautiful. I am free. I'm watching you at home. You're doing it. Last time. I am powerful. I am beautiful. I am free. Now turn to the person next to you, give them a high five, say, I love you. Thank you so much for supporting me. Thank you. Give the person next to you a high five or a hug and grab a seat. Grab a seat. Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful energy. Let's recap. If we want to create a free world, a free society, a free community, the first thing we need to do is live free ourselves on the inside. And actually, everything else we've talked about this weekend becomes effortless after that. Not effortless. We'd still need to require inputs and action, but it feels completely different than carrying that weight. And I'm doing this as much for you as I am for me today. That's why I read that thing, poem, rap, whatever it was. Because if we stretch ourselves every single day, we get to the edge of that comfort zone that we found at the beginning of today's session, then inch by inch, we can move beyond. Because it can feel overwhelming. And again, I come back to what Neil Oliver said. You know, he's here to soak it all up. And it was beautiful how he shared his own interpretation. Rome wasn't built in a day. We can't take all these thousands of ideas and implement them tomorrow morning. I mean, you're a genius if you can. Tell us. You'll be speaking on stage in Mexico for sure. But this is what it's about. It's about getting out of our own way. If we want a free world, we have to be free ourselves. So I invite you, as you walk out of here this weekend, to walk with freedom in your hearts, with power in your soul, with beauty radiating within you, because you are beautiful. And you all shouted it. If you didn't, I heard you saying it in your head. Where we go from here is up to you. But every single step that we take as individuals will contribute to the change we're willing in our hearts to manifest. But it won't happen accidentally. It won't happen by itself. It requires you to step into that power that you felt in your heart today. Some of you may have reminded yourselves that that's still there, that beating heart, that pulse, that miracle. It's always there. So my plea to you is to carry that in your heart. If you ever forget, come right back, right here. It's always there. That's the magic of it all. And go and lead in your own way, to guide, to take that step in whatever endeavor it is. And it would be my absolute delight to hear you speaking on the stage in Mexico or the People's Reset next year, because you took action. You came here, you absorbed it, and you said, you know what? I've reached my point of enough is enough. I'm ready to lead in my own unique, beautiful way. And that doesn't mean you need to go and organize a conference or step outside in the Trafalgar Square in front of 50,000 people. That's my story. I came here to remind you that you hold the pen to write your own story and to hopefully inspire the courage within you to break free of the comfort zone and to remind you that you're powerful, beautiful, and free, and that together, not only can we change our own lives, but in the process of doing so, we change the world. Thank you very, very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Make some noise for Dan, everybody. Make some noise for Dan Astin-Gregory. Stay right here, brother. Wow. That was an amazing talk. Like I said, now you see why we had to bring him to Mexico and why he brought me here. So we're so grateful. Guys, I can't believe it, but the main stage talks are coming to an end. As I said earlier, we still have the evening ceremony to come to, and I hope you all will join us so we can really ground. But as we wrap up here, one more time, please make a big round of applause for Pushback AV for helping us run this whole stage with sound and lights. Thank you, Carl and Steve. I want to let you guys know the painting is now finished. Would you like to see it? Myra, let's bring it up on stage and let everybody check it out. For those who are at home, as I said earlier, she's been off to the side painting this beautiful piece of work, and give it a look. It is, as she said earlier, this is inspired off the song that myself and Presence put together called Taxation is Theft. It's a beautiful piece of work. Check out her artwork. She's got prints upstairs if you want to get some yourself. Myra, I want to invite you to hang out here with us. And I want to invite, of course, my lovely partner, Miriam Gomez, who helped us organize all this. Make some noise for Miriam, organizing all the workshops.
I want to invite Brother Hakeem up here, who's helped us run the tech side of everything and also gave an amazing speech himself. And of course, we could not do this without all of the volunteers, all of the People's Reset volunteers. Please join us on stage right now, everybody. Make some noise for them. All of you folks, yes, we want you on stage.
Marco as well.
Yeah. And let's get Marco on stage as well. Marco's our security guy. Make some noise for Marco helping us out here. Thank you. Thank you.
This entire event wouldn't have been possible with everyone on the stage here. And I know there's members of our team right now who are still working away in the background who couldn't join us here on stage. But quite truly, and I've been involved in many different events in different forms over the years, and this has been one of the most seamless events. Our crew have been working tirelessly, selflessly, embodying everything I've just talked about, really, guiding and leading. They're showing the way by their actions and their heart. And I really hope you felt their presence over the course of this weekend. We truly couldn't do it without each one of them. Everyone has stepped up. Everyone has gone beyond their comfort zone. And I just want to really say from the bottom of my heart, thank you to each one of you. It's been amazing work.
Thank you guys for all you've done. Thank you so much. Guys, we appreciate each and every one of you. Everybody at home, we really hope you will join us next time. We hope that you've taken this activation in. Please, please do not let this feeling fade when you go back wherever home is. As Dan said, let's take this with us. Let's carry it with us. Remember, you are never alone. We are all with you in this journey to building a better world. We thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Thank you, everybody at home. We'll see you next time.
This is a solutions event. This is what's happening.
After 5 successful events in North America, the Freedom Cell Network is partnering with Free Humanity to bring the People's Reset to Bath, UK. In 2020, as the World Economic Forum announced the Great Reset Initiative, millions of people around the world began questioning the narratives being fed to them.
You must stay at home.
Millions of free-thinking people responded with protests, marches and rallies focused on waking up the rest of the world to the dark agenda of control and technocracy hidden beneath the so-called health initiatives.
We need to know every single piece of information.
We've lived that freedom message today, and we've been a walking symbol of what it means to be free.
While the world was reacting to the rapid expansion of tyranny, the Freedom Cell Network sought to promote solutions by launching the Greater Reset Activation in January 2021, a 5-day gathering designed to inspire, motivate, and activate freedom lovers into action. The Greater Reset highlighted the importance of localization, decentralization, individual and collective liberty, bodily autonomy, and freedom of choice.
The technocrats at the United Nations and the World Economic Forum are now hosting the Summit of the Future in New York City in September 2024.
At that meeting, governments of the world are expected to sign the so-called Pact for the Future. We reject their vision and the assumption that they speak for humanity. Join us in September for the People's Reset UK, our summit for our future.
Over 3 days, we will gather in community, celebrating our victories and successes, whilst continuing to highlight solutions under 5 holistic themes.
Liberate your mind, body, and spirit.
Permaculture and food independence.
Building parallel networks.
Empowering technology.
And building free and conscious communities. 24 top-notch speakers, including Neil Oliver, Charles Dowding, Dan Astin-Gregory, Nigel Howlett, John and Rebecca Bush, and many more.
We'll also be hosting the People's Reset concert featuring international artist Dub FX, as well as Presence, 33, and more talented performers to come. Join us in Bath in September 2024 as we collaborate and build the parallel systems of the future.
Join us for the next evolution of the Greater Reset.
Join us for the People's Reset UK. Visit thegreaterreset.org to learn more and to get your ticket today.